And we're on time. And we're on time live. This is Baron and Sadist. Welcome to Baron and Sadist. I'd like to give a shout out to we got Baron Yam, we got Internal Sadist in the daggone live stream. Look like we got Lord Sos in here and MGTOW and Win talking shit in the comment section.
We're talking hell of shit.
As usual. The usual suspects.
What am I, top liver?
Huh?
I like that saying. What am I, chopped liver?
Right.
Hear a lot of people say it. I say it sometimes too because it's like sometimes I just go unnoticed, but like it's weird because I'm also like I also like I'm kind of useful to people, so it's like they only come around whenever they need something, and then then they talk like I'm not even there. And I'm like, what the hell?
For real. I notice that shit too all the damn time. It pisses me off. Like, really, dude, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah, and it's just like, that's fine, because I don't really like being like bothered.
You think that make your ass become a dad? You become that person's dad. You don't got no identity whatsoever. You just that person's dad. Like I'm Laszlo's dad. Like nigga, my name is Tico, nigga.
Yeah, like
I'll at least call a nigga Quan. Fuck. The hell, just disrespecting me, shit. Who do you think had the little motherfucker? At least call me Laszlo Senior or something, or Big Laszlo. Shit, give me a name. Give me a damn.
And then they just laugh. They just laugh at your pain. They're like, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about you. Like, right. That's
nigga, I'm a real person. I'm somebody else outside of Laszlo's dad. Nigga, I'll be happy to be called Big Laszlo. Shit, call me Big Laszlo. You don't know my damn name. Shit, just disrespect it.
I almost said with like schooling too, because I for a while I was in public school, and it's like the teachers they only really care about the parents when the kids are in trouble. Because when they're actually teaching, it's pretty much just all about them. They could care less about like your upbringing and whatnot. But it depends on the teacher too. Because I had a lot of good teachers, and they kind of like the way that they approach lessons and stuff is not really necessarily to force something down your throat. It's more just to like get you to think, and then a lot of times the kids that are I'm just gonna say the stupid kids. They are the ones that say a lot of stuff, say a lot of BS, and then the other kids just get to sit back and like be like, I didn't know people were that stupid. That's interesting that people had that view. Like for example, we were reading The Invisible Man, I think once. And that's like the Ralph Ellison book where I think it's a black man, but he kind of goes on he kind of is like it's either like he's really educated, but then he also is just able to blend in, and there's a lot of different tropes in that story that I think are really good as a teachable moment for kids. But I think sometimes it just goes over people's head. Like I just noticed it in lecture a lot of times, how people will be like, well, I just don't like how so-and-so is just racist, and I wasn't able to really focus on the lesson because of what he said was so offensive. And I mean that book's been talked about for so long. Like certain books that are in curriculum nowadays, it's like those books have been kind of gone over and dissected and analyzed and interpreted over and over and over again. And when you hear somebody have that opinion about it, you feel like all of it's been you feel like all of that time has been wasted when they're not able to actually pick up an idea.
I remember when apparently my daughter Talia went over what was it what's the name of that book To Kill a Mockingbird, and somebody in her class did the exact same thing, and she goes, this nigga. So they gave me a call and they told me I had to come into school because she used the N-word.
Yep, that's the one time Tico's phone be ringing.
So she got in trouble for using the N-word, and I
The
come
kid
to
said the
school.
N-word.
Yeah, I know, right? Like her daddy's a nigga, she's a nigga. I'm sorry, like what? No, like. Well, apparently they were upset because she had referred to a white kid as a nigga when she had said it.
Well, okay, so that means like this has been the train of thought with this channel for at least the past couple weeks, because, and I don't, even though we got distracted, I kind of realized what it's just these past videos have been about, and it's like sometimes you have to let your guard down, but still have like an air of confidence or an air of of the fact that you know what's going on. Because in certain like the formats of discussion, it's like you can't bank on what you know to save your like your experiences to save you in a debate or in a conversation, because it's really all about how you're perceiving the people around you. Like if you perceive the people around you as like not knowing certain things, you're probably going to run into a brick wall at some point. And
yeah.
And like I don't know, I try my best to be a good role model for the people in the live stream, because I know we talk to a very different, diverse, and select like group of people, and so I guess it just pays to be mindful. But about the racism, yeah, about the racism thing, I was like, yeah, I guess that never bothered me. I didn't articulate it that way until I got out of the liberal kind of indoctrination, because everybody wants you to care about race issues and stuff when you're in that environment and when you're raised in the society.
I think the thing that pissed her off about the whole entire thing, because she thought it was a good book. Okay, cool. But she had this kid whose parents were liberals. So he believed that he had to be the savior for all the black people and shit like that. And she's sitting in class and this man says something and she goes, "This nigga." The sad part about that is he felt like shit. The rest of the class was laughing.
Well, take a look at that, like that piece of evidence, though. It's like, whether it be the kid or the parents, like there's some sort of tragic expression there, where, like, whether by his own ignorance or his parents' ignorance, he gets kind of made fun of or joked about, because he doesn't approach the situation the right way. And like, I wouldn't say that person himself is like deficient mentally. It's just basically his parents are in a lower emotional state or a lower level of thinking where they would facilitate that. Because for I guess it stands to reason that if you're the way that your daughter acts that or reacts to that shows that, you know, not everybody is supposed to think in terms of this, like, I want to be a savior, this kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, other people, people can, but I think it happens more organically when it actually turns out right. But the left, it doesn't really happen that way, and you have a lot of people who have been coaxed or coerced into this this like place of reasoning. You know, it's kind of like messed up.
But you want to know the funny thing behind that whole entire thing is, my children are light enough to actually be able to pass as, like, you know, something else. So, like, when your teachers,
there you go, yeah,
when teachers see them, they don't really think black. Okay, they think maybe Latino, they think Latinas, they think Indians, maybe they think anything brown other than like mulatto for all intents purposes. So, like, it's like the separation from like who their actual parent is, who's actually writing the check for the school, versus, you know, who they believe them to be, is like the most interesting thing in the world, because like they literally forget that my children are black. So the sad part about that is, like, they don't really think mulatto at all, and like they they basically just know they're not mulatto for all intents and purposes. So they know there's not a white woman involved in the whole entire thing. But they'll think to themselves like they'll think Mexican, they'll think everything else, but they forget that I'm black. It's like when I write the check to them, the check is just a white guy writing the check. Like, but when I show up at
I
school,
realized that too because I was around like a lot of white people, but it was more like
when I show up to school, and then they're like, "Oh, interesting. We're about to sell it for no fucking reason whatsoever, aren't we?"
she's like the teacher's like, I wasn't ready to get a foot of my ass today, but it's gonna
right. Right, literally, I wasn't ready to get a foot in my ass today, right? Literally, it's like I'm writing these checks, and I must be like some white guy writing these checks or something like that. Or must be some rich Indian guy or some rich Mexican writing these checks or something like that. And like I show up at the school, and it's like, oh, was not as. It's like, oh yeah, your dad is black. Damn, this is dumb. I don't know why I even did this. And it's like, dude, like, come on. It's like we're not expelling my children for saying something that they are. Like, really, like you're trying to like, no, just no, dude. And it's just
I leave that stuff out, kind of like because you said once in a previous podcast, you're like, I like to pretend I'm dumb on purpose, and like for me, I like to pretend I'm like not black because it actually to me it's a very comfortable and it's a very like thrilling environment for me to be able to say what I feel being black, but for people not to know, and it's like only my friends will really know the true me. And because it'd be like in lecture I would say something and then I would talk to somebody afterwards and they're like, but you're not black, are you? I'm like, yes. And they're like, oh wow, oh I didn't know. And so you got a lot of people just thinking that you're this like racist person without even trying to do any research, and then they like spread that around, and then they meet other people who are like, no, he's black. Or no, that's you're just being closed-minded, or no, it's just not how it works. Like it's more nuanced than that. Even if you aren't fully black, it's still like it sounds different to the people that aren't listening to you directly, because they'll get offended.
Mm-hmm. Like my favorite is like I worked at jobs like I've worked at jobs where white people even differentiate the difference between black people, like African Americans, and like Afro Latinos, Afro Jamaicans, Africans. They're like differentiated to, well, no, he's not black, he's Jamaican, or no, he's not black, he's Afro Latino, or no, he's not black, he's African. That's literally what these white people be doing. So like, I remember the one time I was at work and we were all sitting there and so the lady goes to me, so you're Jamaican? Like, yeah, but I'm other things too. She goes, so you're not black? Like, what? I'm a nigga. I hate to break it to you, but I'm a nigga. Like, you see my skin color, I'm a nigga. She just looked at me, she got all shocked, her eyes got big, she got quiet, she started going to work. Funniest shit ever. Like, I'm a nigga. Hello. Like, yeah, they literally do this to black people. Like, if you're from like a different culture, you're not considered black, you're considered Jamaican, or you're considered Dominican, or you're considered Afro-Latino, or Afro-Caribbean, or African, but you're not black because you're different from the black people.
Yeah.
I guess they know and love.
You talk about how it negatively impacts you a lot, like just having like your skin tone, and a lot of people don't believe you, because they're just like thinking like you just gotta think of a way out of it. You have to be able to perceive other than just like the prejudices that people have, and like to a certain extent that's true. But then like my question is always like, how do you weigh the pros and cons of like acting a certain way if you don't have the experience of what it's like to benefit from it and not look at it in a positive light and be honest and be upfront about who you are.
I do have the experience to benefit from just being straight black. But I typically don't really do it unless I really have to. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, well, because like I've always said, like, there's always this topic of like privilege. Me personally, in my life, I believe every single culture has privilege. So there is black privilege, there is white privilege, there's Chinese privilege. Okay, I'm not going to name them all. There's just Asian privilege, there's each kind. There's just freaking Latin privilege. There's Arab privilege. There's Indian privilege. Everybody has privilege in this whole entire world in the United States. It's all about how you bankroll it to make it fit you so you can actually get away with shit. Like a good example of that is black privilege would be me at work when I talked about I walk in the room and the director of the lab is there and the administrative director is there and my supervisor's there and my coworkers are there and I go, "What up, my niggas?" And they all just turn around and look at me and some of them take off running so they won't have to deal with like HR in 5 minutes basically. And I'm just going about my merry way. And everybody's just like, "What's up, Terrence?" "What's up, Cat? What's up, Quads?" Just shit like that. It's like, so it's one of those things where it's
funny because like I think the way that I my demeanor is like when I'm having my headphones in, it's like people might think I'm like listening to rap or they might think I'm listening to some sports or something, but I'm like listening to like some weird like esoteric, like I'm listening to Quasi-Mandius or something,
right?
And it's like,
Right.
It's like it's so strange because I feel like you have freedom within people's perception to actually just like be free, but like a lot of people still are indoctrinated and they feel like they have no options with how they should act in the natural world. I mean, I guess it just like, to me it just shows how much we've devolved.
Yeah, definitely.
And it,
like
we just completely gone backwards in terms of human expression, like how we're able to actually express ourselves. I sent you some of those videos, some of the videos I was looking at yesterday.
from Quasi-Mandius?
No.
I was gonna say, you know I'm sub to him. I'm the one that told you to sub to him, right?
No, I think you might have come across it on the feed. It was just videos like, well, I don't want to leave Safari because I don't want it to break.
I know. I'll go look at them most definitely. I probably have to get on my computer to do it. If you didn't send it to like the cartel chat.
Yeah, I sent it to Emery.
Cartel chat. If you didn't send it out one, I got to go look at it. To another.
No, I don't. I either sent it to that one or I sent it to Emery, or I sent it to.
Okay, if you send it to Emery, I'll go check it out under Emery.
Because like it was about, there was a couple, and if you find it, it'll actually help. But there was like a montage of Amber Heard and Jason Momoa. And it's like Amber Heard can't stop flirting with Jason Momoa, and like I wanted to dissect it because I feel like it pretty much shows like, I guess, what depression and like shows like mental illness and stuff, and how nuanced it is, and how I guess I think women are kind of, they kind of like accept their. Because when you watch that video in particular, it's like you can tell why her relationship with Johnny Depp didn't work out, because she literally is just like so flirtatious, and so in the presence of Jason Momoa, she's always just like trying to like turn and face him and joke with him and use him and kind of like manipulate him, and then describe her relationship with him to other people as like super positive. And then you can see Jason Momoa, he's just like super careful whenever he's around her, and he the way that he is, he's very charismatic, but you can tell he kind of reins it in whenever he's around Amber Heard. And I wanted to like get your take on it because like yeah.
To be honest with you, that's more of a cultural thing, and that's actual a cultural thing, like this Momoa cultural thing. Because I noticed with a lot of people who tend to have similar cultures, like Samoans and Latinos exactly. And shit like that.
Me too. Like, because
I get the exact same way. People, especially when people are like flirting with us that are married. Yeah. We tend to pay attention to that shit, and our antennas go up. And it's one of those things where it's like either something's going to happen. Or
I'm like, red flag.
Yeah, red flag. The sad part about that is, and this is the thing I love about Jason Momoa, and he's a prime example of what I'm about to say. Mm-hmm. You could tell somebody hit the wall when a Samoan don't want to hit it.
Yeah,
There, I
yeah,
said it. I said it.
yeah.
Or if a Latino doesn't want to hit it, a Samoan doesn't want to hit it, that bitch hit the wall.
Yeah. Okay. So then let's just shift a little,
Not cool
slightly. Like I think cultures, because you're talking about privilege. I think cultures like other than the United States are socialized to understand privilege better, and like certain things like I guess like hitting the wall, but also like mental illnesses and depression and stuff, because like we understand what it's like to actually have nothing, and then when we see somebody who could who could, like, I guess for autistic purposes, like fuck off and do something else, but they're invested in something that's confusing to you, you kind of notice that, and you put that on Front Street, and you highlight that as that person's that person, what that person needs to work on. So then when they bring up something, you kind of just like gaslight them and say like, that's not important to me, I don't care about that. um and then to me it shows very much so when you're looking at that dynamic, like when somebody's being flirted with and they don't want to accept that flirtatiousness, or they're cautious in the way that they approach that. it
Yeah,
it, it made me realize that. I was like, wait, dude, Tico needs to see this, because this is he probably knows that this is like a
yeah,
trade,
because that part
a
about
trend.
that, as a Latino, as an Afro Latino, I tend to pay attention to my surroundings more, especially in this, time, because like I said, and like people might think I'm mean, but like, look, if I see a group of white women, I'm crossing the street, like legit, like I'm crossing the street, like them bitches are gonna rob me. I'm crossing the street, and the sad part about that is the reason why I do that is because I don't want to be implemented in some shit that I didn't do. So typically, I treat white women how everybody else treats black people. Um, that's typically how it is. Like, so, and it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I don't want to be involved in that one. That's it sounds like some shit that I don't want to be involved in, or it sounds like some shit that can get me in trouble, or it sounds like some jail time for all intents and purposes. It's usually how I view white women.
You like, I didn't do anything, I'm gonna like just hands behind your back. Oh, come on, get off me.
I know, right? And the sad part about that is me being me and me going through the shit that I went through. I know they're more likely to believe them than they are to believe me, even if there's a camera there. Because like in my past history, motherfuckers don't like checking cameras or checking my alibi or checking what the hell's going on with me, and they just arrest me any damn way.
Oh yeah,
So it's one of the
cameras
things
never
they're going to
save
believe her no
me.
matter what.
Like
Then I know I got to spend time in jail for a while before my grandma, before I get my lawyer, and then I get to get out. And the sad part about that is like that's sad when you grow up like that as a minority and know that this shit can actually happen to you. And that's what makes it so fucking sad. And it's like I know this, and other minorities know this. The sad part about that is apparently African Americans forget all about this. Like,
not only that,
it's their
because
mind.
not only
It's
that,
like
because you have
mind.
people like Win. You have people like Win, like mad respect to Win, like Win, the way that Win moves and stuff. He's very knowledgeable about that stuff, and if anything happened to him or in order for him to get to that, it's like, man, I'm sorry that happened to you, and like, but like, my thing is white people don't get it, they don't get it, and then they
well,
think
no, it's not the fact that white people don't get it. It's more or less the fact that white women don't get it. Like why nobody wants to interact with you, nobody wants to play with you, nobody wants to hang with you, nobody wants to do anything with you because that sounds like a case.
True. Absolutely.
Like,
and to be honest, I think on a hierarchy, it goes probably like white women don't get it, and then like I would say black women don't get it, and then black men don't get it, and then white men are like kind of like at the bottom of that, because they kind of understand stuff if they're able to actually look back and like actually understand the past properly and make amends with the past. And it's very unlikely that you'll.
Well, no, because there's a lot of white people that'll say some shit like, "Let the past be the past." Wait, what, nigga? Wait, nigga, what? Like, are you trying to let shit repeat itself again? Like, what the fuck you got going on
here?
It
depends on the context when they're saying that, but I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Because like at
the end of the day, it's one of those things where like, because I've always said like everybody loves everybody. Well, everybody loves everybody else's culture, especially the damn SJWs, and especially like white college kids They're walking around. They're walking around talking about Cinco de Mayo and shit like that. It's like, you're looking at them like, bitch, you don't take that fucking hat off.
But
I'll punch you in the fucking
I
face.
share this a lot. But I used to be like in high school, and for Martin Luther King Day, the dining area, they were serving fried chicken, collard greens, and watermelon, and
No, they weren't. I believe it
yeah.
though, but no, they weren't. If that ain't some tone deaf shit right there.
It's so, and it's terrible because it was a music school, so you expect them to they expect their philosophies to have harmony with the people, even through like adapting and adding new voices and adding new like a new makeup to the way that the student body are. It's like the administration is still sunken down, and it is primarily like white men and women, but like to me the worst thing that I've ever like the worst like the majority of the transgressions I would say that come from white men as opposed to white women is mostly just like apathy and or just being ignorant, whereas like I feel like white women had multiple chances to like I guess wise up, but they just like full steam ahead. Black
Yeah,
people
it's
don't have
like
voter ID. Black people don't have voter ID.
oh yeah, like
Black,
that.
they just say they're the ones that I feel like when they say it, it's like, well, damn, like you seem a little. You're supposed to be more. I guess you're supposed to be more like socially intelligent enough and be able to pick up on this stuff, and you're in a lot of positions to do that, but it's never I guess it's never occurred to you. That's like what the wall is to me. It's like it would that like in that context, it's like going so long without ever having to actually wake up and see the
Self-correct
reality,
or self-reflect or
or exactly, or make a conscientious decision. Even though Jordan Peterson, he said that women are higher on conscientiousness, but I
they
think
are.
what you
But the
see,
sad part about that is what he
yeah,
means by it is like socially and emotionally. They are. The sad part about that, it's all about them. It's never about anybody else. It's all about what they're doing and what they're doing for the cause, or what they're doing and how they're doing it. It's not even about the cause anymore. It's about like how they're portrayed while they're doing the cause, which really kind of sucks.
same with this, yeah, same with like when you see a lot of editorials pick up Rachel Dolezal or any of these other SJWs cases, like they almost are sort of activated.
Yeah.
Like they're activated. They say everything that, and if they have opponents, they fight them ferociously. But you never hear from those people again because it's all just for the limelight, for like that short period of time. And like I was always about speaking up and having my voice be heard, but to me, there's a huge difference between, I guess, standing up for something and then following it up with being like reflective and being, and then like just analyzing what you said and going with the flow of social justice and feeling it out. I guess like outburst by outburst, because it's really that's really the format. I think it's just that I never really liked, and it led to a lot of falling out with people. And I mean, because it was like, yeah, we're both passionate, but you're a little bit too much on that side, and I need you to come over to the center. Because what we have now is, I think it's a really confusing time, because especially when you're in red pill, because I actually experienced a lot of resistance, not from other people, but just myself studying the red pill stuff, because it's like I don't even know if who you're talking about or think before you sleep is talking about, or I don't know if what you guys are talking about is women, or if you're talking about like a lot of men that are just they're super conscientious. They act like every single decision that they make is seen by somebody, and therefore, I
Typically,
mean,
that's how women are. That's pretty much how women think. They're like, everything they do is public, and they don't want to be embarrassed publicly. So anytime they do something, it's like they got to watch out for their image because they don't want their image to be tarnished or destroyed. It's typically why like women don't care about shit up until you put them on blast publicly. Like a good example of that is if a woman can actually be a cheater if you don't like show the pictures or the evidence to her family members, oh, she could talk shit on you all day. The minute everybody else around her knows.
Feedback.
Oh, what'd you say?
Okay. I was getting some feedback. It was sounding like you were roboting earlier, but I pretty much picked up what you were saying. Sorry to interrupt.
You're fine. It's pretty much the thing about women is what happens with women is, huh? What happened?
Hello. Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, okay. No. I realized that it's the realm of. Oh, go ahead.
What the heck?
No, go ahead. You were finishing up, and I was trying to add on to it, but I'll let you finish.
Oh, I was saying basically the thing about it, women, is they could cheat on you all day, but as long as you don't put them on blast publicly, don't have all the balls in the world to talk shit on you and be mad at you for breaking up with them. The minute you put them on blast to everybody, they're embarrassed and they go back licking their wounds. So women don't like to be embarrassed publicly. They're like their biggest PR person for all intents and purposes when it comes to their safety and how people view them. Because the minute somebody views them in a lesser light, they have a problem. Because women are pretty much agreeable, and women want everybody to like them or love them for all intents and purposes. This is typically why women rule socially and emotionally, because they pride themselves on being liked by everybody. Go ahead.
No, I think it's like, okay, so in communication you have like task and relational, and I think men actually suffer. Men are more in jeopardy whenever their relational stuff isn't managed, which is why like relationships are kind of seen as good by the society, because like if no one can really claim a man, he is more of a threat to society because he's kind of like an outlier, and he represents a real danger, like a very palpable danger. Whereas I think women are more conscientious about that kind of stuff. But like, if in an ideal society, the amount of shame that's given to them for making bad decisions is most often warranted, you could say.
Well, yeah, it is warranted. But the sad part about that in this day and age, women don't get shamed; they get praised for something that normally they would have got shamed for in the past. Like a good example of that is if a woman leaves her whole entire family, she can leave her kids, she can leave her husband, she can leave all that behind her to go chase a man, basically. And you go, girl, you're living your dreams, you're living your best life. If a man wants to do that, he'd be crucified. He would be crucified if he did some shit like that. If a man left his whole entire family, they'd be talking shit on him. They'd be like, "Oh, he's a deadbeat."
I mean,
man. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it a lot with the. When I look at like archaeological records and they find a man out in the mountains by himself, and all he had was like a walking stick or something like that. Like whenever if a man doesn't like leave society, eventually he's either going to be beat out by like an alpha, or like an altercation is going to happen between him and like an alpha or somebody who's vying for power, or he's going to move up the ladder. He's going to become like ingrained in that society, whether it's like he's an aristocracy, whether he's a nobleman, whether he's a resource provider or something like that. But then like sometimes the only safety for a human being is to just leave and to just go off into the wilderness and like not care. And I bring that into as an analogy a lot, just to describe something like the idea how men their only option is to, I guess, just like focus more on themselves, and if they're cast out as a result of that, then just like accept it and not to fight against it, because that's the kind of stuff that can really get you in trouble and hurt.
The sad part about that whole entire alpha thing back in the day is most of the people that were deposed, they weren't deposed by alphas, they were deposed by betas. And this is something that people always keep on trying to retell and recant the story on. It's like they rewrite the story. But the sad part about this, a lot of these people that were deposed by betas. Because if you ever actually go and like look at the person's bio or even remotely study that person who took over that person, this motherfucker had a shit ton of help. Like he had somebody that was planning the shit, and he was just a front guy for all intents and purposes. Like he had the woman basically making up all the plans on how to kill this man, and then like he had the other guy just in case shit happened over here, just in case. And the sad part about that, that's something that people always try to tell when they tell a story on. What's up, Americus? What's up, Seafood Black Average, aka New Era MGTOW Monk? The sad part about that is like a lot of these people are deposed by betas. We always talk about how the alpha always deposes people, but the sad part about that, a lot of these people in history were deposed by betas. Like a good example is that I told a story in one last stream where there was two male beta lions that actually took over a pride. They were both the leaders of the pride, and they were brothers, and they were betas. You see what I'm saying? Shit like this happens so often, it's fucking ridiculous. Because the sad part about that is, like I said, it's almost like rolling with fear. If you roll with fear, you're going to wound everybody up so tight that, you know, a person's going to be so nervous, they're going to accidentally pull the trigger, and you're dead now all of a sudden.
I guess it's the difference between like understanding and comprehending fear, because when you understand it as a man, why you would be afraid of confronting another man, I guess in a physically, then you're much more conscientious of that, and then I feel like you're even able to a certain extent to have like a more higher minded conversation. But I feel like that's completely useless though, because now it's more like people want to they've read The Prince and they've read 38 Laws of Power, and now they want to rule, or they want people to be to like give them respect, when it's like it's more like you have to earn it.
Yeah. The neat thing about respect is like not only do you have to earn, you don't necessarily just have to earn it. You can always take it. Now the thing about taking, it's all about how you take it from somebody. Like a good example of that is anytime I don't feel as though I'm getting the respect that I'm due, I will put somebody in a precarious situation where they have no choice but to respect me, because there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Like a good example of that is me walking into work saying, "What's up, my niggas?" And you have a lot of the higher up office people just run into their office and hide behind their desk. You have all the other people saying, "Hello, what's up? What's up?" You know, it's just stuff like that. So like, you have to take it sometimes. You don't always get to earn it, but you have to take it. And the sad part about that, as long as you have that presence and you have that, like what I always refer to as that commit, known it attitude, you have no choice. People have no choice but to respect you for who you are. Because the minute you come in saying something else and doing something different, it kind of sucks. And to answer America's DeVille's question on that one, Alexander the Great was technically a beta because he was controlled by his mother.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and I guess the way that I see it a lot of times is not so much that
his mother actually was always in his ear. He had an interesting relationship with his mother for all intents and purposes. So Alexander the Great was actually a beta because he was basically a mama's boy, and a lot of the stuff that he did was his mother being in his ear, or somebody manipulating him into doing some shit that he didn't even need to do.
Like, do you think that he would just become like a low-level craftsman, like had he not had his mother there to tell him?
Had he not had his mother and a guy that you know, the guy that was pretty much playing both sides of the fence, and the guy that was manipulating him into doing shit that he didn't even need to do, or telling him that, "Oh, this person said something about your mama. What you gonna do about that, pimpin'?" It's basically like that playground shit. It's like, you know, you got that boy. You got that dude where you sit up there in that thing. You got that dude where you sit up in the thing and like he's always saying, "Oh, he says something about your mama, dog. You gonna let him get away with that?" He says he always had them people in his ear for all intents and purposes. And the sad part about that is the sad part about that is when it comes down to it, it's one of those things where like you got to realize the people around him had all the power. He just had the military backing.
Yeah, they were manipulating him.
They were manipulating him into all the shit that he got into.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, they manipulated him into the last battle that he took a L in. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, he was just a human doing.
Yeah, basically, that's all he really was. He was just a human doing. And the sad part about it, if it wasn't his mother, it was his homeboy. If it wasn't his homeboy, it was his priest. If it wasn't the priesties, Siri, whatever the frick they call that guy, like somebody was always manipulating them into doing stupid shit for all intents and purposes because they didn't have
and
to.
You have like the society too, like during that time too. Don't you have like Vestal Virgin?
Like, yeah, the Vestal Virgin. He had other people like that.
So like it's totally circumstantial for the most part that he would fail to perceive around that indoctrination. Like if there's such thing as a Vestal Virgin,
the sad part about that, he never got around the whole entire indoctrination thing because his mom was indoctrinating him since he was a kid. And they also say that something to the extent of like his mom and him were like every now and again an item, to put it nicely, along with one of his close friends. So it's one of those things where it's like
male friends or
yeah, one of his male friends were apparently one of his male friends were an item at one point too, or they would have some occasional itemship or arrangementship or situationship going on between his mom and him would have a situationship or his mom and his friend and him would have a situationship either way. But the sad part about that is he was always manipulated. He was always manipulated by somebody.
I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of your content, but I was like, doesn't that have to do with like gynocentrism to a certain extent?
Well, back in those days, women had some power, but they didn't have enough power. Well, no, they had a decent amount of power because the whole entire society was actually built around them.
Like I said, the Vestals. Like
so, yeah, in a way, yeah.
But like that, how I see it is more so that a person like him, and then you have people like way back before that too, with like you have like Hannibal, Hannibal Barca. Mm-hmm. Like he's an example because he and his brother, there's like his brother, well, he had like a more reserve role in the whole entire thing, but you have like Hannibal, he just went up into Spain and just like carved a path and then went and just like fucked up the road, he just tried a lot of different stuff to just like he was so mental. But like I wonder if it's how you're raised, almost like that, like I guess like is the theme for your campaign, you could say. Like it's like if your campaign is just emotional and it's just filled with loss after loss, then you could tell that person they're not the brains of the organization. They're just a pawn.
They're probably the muscle in their brains went on vacation.
yeah, I guess you could say that. Exactly. And like when I was watching, because I'm trying to remember
the message.
I'm trying to remember those other videos, but since I only remember the Jason Momoa one, like that to me, it just perfectly illustrates the times that we're living in. Like you have like this huge, like huge hulking dude who, like, for all intents and purposes, could take anything that he wants, but he's being pretty much very cautious and very stoic.
And the sad part about that,
just because he's getting like this tail thrown at him, it doesn't change how he acts. It doesn't really change how he acts. Dude, I was allowed to say that. I ain't gonna say it. Yeah, but go ahead. Sorry, I was about. It's the only video I can remember, so that's the only video that I'm bringing up.
But the sad part about that, I was like, there's actually a picture of women like reacting to Justin Trudeau the same way that she reacted to Amber Heard. Like there's actually a video montage of like Ivanka Trump.
Dude, I could see the editorials like why Jason Momoa feels so blah 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 about Amber Heard. He won't confront the fact that she's an independent woman and he's
Yeah,
not
and that's
man enough
exactly
to
how they'll
date
paint
her.
it, though.
And
That's
she's
exactly how they'll paint it. Forget the fact that
yeah,
Jason Momoa is married. Forget the fact that he's married. That's pretty much what it'll pretty much be painted as.
exactly.
Jason Momoa is a
Exactly.
misogynist. Jason Momoa is this. And that's typically what he's trying to actually avoid and stay away from. And that's probably the problem. That's the problem that he's probably having for all intents and purposes.
And we got to put it started like hashtag Momoa or something like that. Like you gotta bring him into the community, not drag him in, but use him as an example. Because honestly, that doesn't make sense for somebody to and nowadays for someone to do that, to act like he does in the face of that, because the perception of it is, oh, he's a lame, oh, he wasn't able to meet the challenge, and oh, he's getting all this stuff thrown at him, but he doesn't want to accept it. He's he's selfish or something. He just wants to maintain his own life. And to me, I'm like, what's wrong with that? There's literally nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But
But
the sad
there's
part
just
about that is, if it revolves around him, it's a problem in this day and age. You keep on forgetting that because you're trying to approach this with logic when in fact it's illogical altogether.
Yeah.
It's all approach. You got to approach it with emotion. That's the problem with it. You can't approach it with logic.
When I do, I understand. I kind of understand it better, and I'm glad I'm not involved with it. I'm not actually participating in it, because if I have to, then I don't know if I'll be able to, like. I'm the type of person where I bottle stuff up, and then like if like I was yeah, and so like if anything like that were to happen in my life, I don't know how long I'd be able to actually just withstand that before I just go like without an outlet. It's like you got to have some pretty fulfilling hobbies in order to be a victim to that on a constant basis. I would just say, and it's like I guess yeah. I just described Americus DeVille.
Apparently.
Oh,
Apparently.
nice. I'm glad I can help you with that. I've experienced a number of revelations over the time of being on Tico Trend channel, but it's mostly when I'm just listening. It's not when I'm actually talking or participating.
Yeah, and the sad part about that is like I said, I
like that series of streams where we were just starting to add more people, and then you could tell like the original group was starting to change and morph and adapt, and then all of a sudden like you had to come out and yell at somebody, and then like the whole entire time I was just listening, paying attention, and trying to follow everything that was going on. And for the most part, I nailed it down.
A lot of people fail to realize about like a lot of the people that I bring in. There's only a certain group of people who are actually the main group of people. Like even if I add somebody and they're on regularly, that's because it was just something to do. Even though it's like I don't really agree with the person, and that person's probably dumber than a box of rocks, or has a room temperature lower than has an IQ lower than a room temperature. Typically how that works is I just bring people in just to bring people in, just to antagonize other people. So like I'm a sadist. If you don't pay attention to it, you'll know what's going on, because I just bring people in so I can antagonize other people. And that's typically how it works. And I just enjoy it, and I'll sit back and enjoy the shit for all intents and purposes. And the sad part about that is the core group of people on this channel was always and will always be me, Yam, Black Pill Radio, Double I, MGTOW to Win, and then you got your extra people who do shows on this channel, like your Psyche Soaps, your Duzangs, Mr. Formas, and True Sherms. So that's the group that pretty much all participates in this channel. It never changes. Even if I had Dusty on here, he was never a part of the group. He was just an extra to basically antagonize somebody else. Because as a matter of fact, I said something about that when it came to Win. He's basically there to be the counter to Win. You see what I'm saying? That's all he really was there for. That's it. And the sad part about that is Now that I think about it, he actually
because
sucked
a lot
up
of the
that
things
too.
that he said actually like brought silence amongst the original people in the group, because we were like, we done hashed this out a lot before, and then Win would kind of interrupt that silence to bring you like his perspective.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like an even. There was kind of an even flow. I gotta admit though, what you said about energy and people bringing people down emotionally and stuff. Like I will study like metaphysics and stuff like that. But it's like other times it's harder for me to actually approach it like that, because I tend to be a realist. You know, it's like, oh, if somebody's draining your emotional energy, so and so, you gotta be able to, like, you can't let that affect you or something like that. But I kind of think differently about that when you put those videos out.
And the sad
And
part about that
I get
is
it. Yeah.
and this is a good example of what I was talking about when it came to Double I. You'll talk about somebody else messing up the flow, but when a person is fucking up the flow, that's actually fucking up the flow, or fucking up the dynamic, or fucking up the chemistry, you won't say anything about that. And that's
It's
what
kind of
I was
like
basically saying in that
passiveness.
one video.
It would be like
And the
a
sad part
passive.
about that is he fucked up the Dusty fucked up the dynamic so many times. It's like Mick telling the win. Mick, of all people, Mick telling the fucking win had to actually pick it up and actually run with it and lead it. He's normally not a person that runs with shit. But if Mick telling the win has to pick shit up and lead with it or run with it, the whole entire fucking chemistry is fucked up. That's typically how you know when the chemistry is fucked up, when Mick telling the win got to pretty much pick up the pieces and run with it and lead.
It's kind of like that image from Emotionless, where it's like literally we have somebody who's bleeding out, and like Wind is the person that has to like tend with the dead.
The doctor that has to handle this shit, and that's typically why I respect Wind and keep them in streams, because I know if I drag somebody in and shit starts bleeding out, I can rely on Wind to pick up the pieces and run with it. And that's typically all it really is, because the sad part about that is Double I would always talk about how somebody else messed up the dynamic when in fact they actually fixed the dynamic. But the people who actually fuck up the dynamic, he never talks about. You see what I'm saying?
But he just let him free reign. He forgave him free reign.
It's like they basically just free reign shit, basically. And it's like, okay, no, you fucked up in that dynamic. We got to address this shit. And we really got to address this shit real. And the sad part about that is, this is typically the problem that I have with a lot of the stuff that goes on the channel. If somebody fucks up that dynamic, I'm basically having them on the channel so you can understand how fucked up the dynamic is. Because the sad part about that is, he'll say in a minute that Roseblades messes up the dynamic or the chemistry. Roseblades actually repairs the dynamic and the chemistry. That's the sad part about that. But if I drag her in, she's going to repair some shit. If I drag Dusty in, he's going to destroy some shit. Like, and that's
exactly. Yeah.
Because usually women destroy shit and fuck shit up, but we got a guy that destroys shit and fuck shit up. And the sad part about that, this is exactly how you know when he's actually fucking shit up, because, like I said, Win will step up and actually be the leader of the stream. And anytime Win has to step up and open his mouth more, you fucked up.
Yeah, like I'll admit if I were to disrupt something, but when I was perceiving what was happening in the live stream, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, I was at a loss for words at a certain point. That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that I'm like lacking. It's just I have nothing to add. I have no value to add to the conversation. But I don't know if I can be implicated in, quote unquote, fucking up a dynamic when I didn't mention anything about the dynamic. I didn't approach the dynamic in any different way. I just try to be myself. And regardless of what the environment is like, because some people think that just because you talk about it means you got to act a certain way, and I never really contend with that on an ideological thing. It's just like, be an individual, have an individual approach to something. Don't be.
What's up, Billy? Billy to go.
Don't think you have to like do a group pile on somebody just because that's how it feels. Like, if you feel something deeply, then you should feel inclined to share it. But if not, then don't share it. Don't try to be somebody else that you're not. Just be yourself.
Basically, and that's typically how it is. It's basically one of those things where, like, you get certain people on the stream and they try to be tryhards for all intents and purposes. It's like, no, nigga, just be yourself. You don't gotta pretend like you're somebody else. You don't gotta pretend like you're You don't gotta be extra in the shit. Just be your fucking self. It's all intents purposes.
Right.
And this it's just shit like that just blows my mind when it comes down to it. And I always just laugh about shit like that, and like always just
because like to me it's like I don't find that I find that like attitude useful when you're actually participating in the stream. But if you got your own thing going on and then you're trying to just like divert off topic and be all masculine about it and stuff, like I'm gonna be like, no, you're not doing this right.
No, you're not doing that. Because the sad part about that is that's another reason why Wynn's always in the streams, because he's going to deflate your ego very quickly. And this is typically why I love Wynn, because he always got those one-liners, or he got them those old adages that old people always use, because he keeps it real. And this is why I like Wynn in streams for all intents and purposes, because he whenever he needs to drop one of them old them lines that an old person would normally say, he's there. He's always there. And the sad part about that, he always can come up with one for any situation to drop. And the sad part about that, this is how you know when people don't get it, that they're fucking up. If Wynn tells you something and you keep going, you fucked up. You fucked up. That's typically how that works, and people don't seem to understand that or get that. And like people don't. Well, why is Wynn in here? Because that nigga's needed. He's much needed. Trust me. He's a nicer version of me in a stream. Let's just put it that way. He's me, but nicer. He's me with sugar.
Sorry, I'm saying this very submissively, but do you think I'm meaner than you? No, not capable of being meaner than you.
But
no,
you're
the way that I approach the.
Well, no, you have the capabilities of being more sarcastic and being more of a smartass than me, depending on like a good example. Another reason why, and like I always say, I say stuff like this because I keep certain people around for certain reasons. Because I remember when we were like our first streams together and stuff like that, you actually were the lead, and I go, this motherfucker's disrespected me on my own damn stream. How about this shit? This motherfucker right here. That's like, oh yeah, he's a keeper. He's definitely a part of the core group now. And it's like, oh yeah, I like him. I like his style. Like, so like I can respect when somebody can actually, just do some shit like that. Just say some smart ass shit, and it's funny. If as long as it's funny, I'm okay with it. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I respect that. Like I think the first stream we did together, the first one we did together where you were the lead and you were just disrespecting the shit out of me, but it was funny as hell. I'm like, this little motherfucker right here. Like,
well, my issue and why I like YouTube so much is because you can do that on YouTube and you can pick up a following. Yeah. But when you do that at your job, or when you do that when you do that, I would just say when you're out about doing your thing, whether or not you're in school or you have a part-time job or you have just some sort of calling or something, you can't when you're a smart ass, it's like you pay for that. You pay for that a lot of the times. You have to eat that cost for being a smartass, even though it's so emotionally fulfilling to you. And that's why I don't know. I support this channel. I support like-minded channels, and it's why I stick in it with people who would be like, see my progression as an individual, and they don't exactly agree with how it should go.
The sad part about that is like, I like having you around for like several reasons, and because you're very multifaceted, and you have the skill to actually be a Tico for all intents and purposes, and like you also have the skill to be more compassionate, but you also have the skill to be Tico but sarcastic and very like very like backhandedly for all intents and purposes. And the sad part about that's what I like about you. You're young and you're still learning. You're absorbing shit so fucking fast. It's like fucking ridiculous. You kind of sort of remind me of Laszlo sometimes. Because the sad part about that, when my relationship with Laszlo is like very funny. Because I'll sit there and talk to Laszlo about something. He'll literally be sitting next to me in a stream or sitting on my lap in a stream while I'm doing the stream, and he'll have on a pair of headphones, but those mic will be muted. And he'll say to me, Daddy, you sound stupid. If my 6-year-old can tell me that you sound stupid in the stream, yeah, it's time for you to go.
That's funny. Like, yeah, I mean, like, I would shout out to my dad if he was listening to this, but he pointed it out. He always points it out to me every time because we don't talk. Like every time when we talk, he always bring up the story of how I was in the car. I was really young, and he just surprised that I actually listened to him whenever he tells me stuff. Because then he'll one time I was still really young, and he asked me like, so what race are you, Aaron? Like, what's your race? And I'd be like, I'm Filipino. And he'd be like, oh, okay, nice, nice. And be like, whoa, what race is your sister? And I'd be like, oh, well, she's black. She's black. And it's just like that his reactions to me were kind of like the same, because he'd be like, oh wow, you actually like you're understanding stuff and you're putting stuff together.
Yeah.
And that's it. That to me, that just gets harder and harder to do and to actually show people. And it's like I can show people on YouTube because I feel
What's
like
up, Mr. Former? Mr. Former in the house.
I have that platform. But in everyday life, it's interesting because it's like antics. You describe it more as like antics.
Yeah,
But I'm
it's
like
antics, but it's
serious.
funny
Like
antics.
people think that just because it's antics doesn't mean it's serious. It's like you
Yeah.
guys think I'm joking, but I'm dead ass serious.
Because the sad part about that, a lot of people that come into the stream, outside of the ones that I've actually named that are actually named in my channel, they're typically people just to fill a void. Not fill a void, but fill a role, basically, a certain role that I pretty much know they can fill. Like a lot of the people that are not like named in my channel, they're pretty much just there to just, be a filler. So if, like I said, if you weren't Black Pill Radio, if you're not Gam, if you're not MGTOW to win, if you're not
Almost Maximus.
if you're not me, if you're not True Sherm, if you're not Mr. Foreman, if you're not Psyche Soap, you're not Duzangs, then you're pretty much there to fill a role. But the sad part about that is I actually added 2 more people to the guest roles, and that was Screwhead and Money AD and Magaman and Sigma. So like you'll probably see a lot more of them on the channel for all intents and purposes, because I like their style and I like what they do, and I actually appreciate them on the last stream, where it's like you get people that's like, really, nigga? Like, it's that part about that. I look at it like this. If you can have me and all my children sitting next to each other, listening to the stream, scratching her head at you, the problem is you. It's like, what the fuck? No, he don't even go. Like, why we got him in the stream? He gonna fuck up our channel. Like this talking. I mean, it's just shit like that. Like, and the sad part about that is like I always talk about Lazo very funnily, but the sad part about that, Lazo actually has a good grasp on what's actually going on in all the conversations for his person.
Like, if you think I was sarcastic and funny, but I would just imagine like what probably Laszlo's gonna end up, because he probably like hearing all this stuff. Because the thing that I had realized when I was in the stream is like, yeah, I've actually heard a lot of people that sound like Dusty, which is why I was trying to wrap it up too with the conversation, because like I support people like that getting better and doing better by themselves. Like I definitely want to see those people come out of whatever it is that they got going on, even if they don't see it as being bad. Like I want everybody to fulfill themselves and be fulfilled and be self-actualized. But I kind of I see this as, because it's not me and my family, like ironically it is, but I see it as kind of like a stepping stone, like a learning experience. Every time I have something like this happen in the chat or in the live stream, because that's all I really feel compelled to do. It's just my role. I'm not trying to do anything else more than my role on the channel.
Well, the sad part about that, your role is actually much bigger than you think your role is, because like you're actually one of the more important people in the main cast for all intents and purposes. So like you're actually one of the more one of the more important people that are very versatile and very have like layers and dynamics to them for all intents and purposes. This is typically why I refer to you as like Tico Trent Jr.
Well, I thank you. I don't resent that. I really don't resent that. But people like I did impressions all my life, so that's basically that comes to know
Well, no, it's not even
the
that because
irony isn't
you don't
lost.
really
The
do
irony
impressions
isn't
of
lost
me.
on me, but
You
also
don't
I'm
really
not.
do impressions of me, but sometimes you can come off as I can for all intents and purposes. And there's sometimes where it's like you can be more compassionate about it. And there's sometimes where it's like, okay, so like every now and again, you're like you tend to mimic me, or sometimes you'll be opposite of me, almost like we're playing like devil's advocate off of me for all intents and purposes. And it's typically how it works. And that's something I've actually noticed. And that's why I appreciate having you in the stream. And you're so young. And you
I'm
absorb
not
shit so
leeching. I'm
fast
not
and
trying
so
to like
quick.
leech off of you or
Because the sad
anything.
part about that is
I'm really just trying to
you
play.
may not think you're important. Here's the thing about it. You may not think you're important, but when you're dropping knowledge on Double I about like people gaslighting and stuff like that, and shit like that,
I
your wise beyond your ears. Huh?
I helped him out. I helped him out with that. That he didn't even know what that term was, and it's like I actually helped him out with figuring it out. And like it's not that I think that he's done it before. Like that's why I feel like it's not my knowledge or anything. Is because I just feel like my perspective. Sometimes I shine a light on something that somebody left in the closet or they left buried deep down. And even though I'm not perfect, like I try to actually make sure that people know what they have. No, people know what they to value about how they think in particular, because that's what I feel like is the main target from all this like gynocentrism and stuff is like. I just feel like there's no genuine thoughts that are male anymore. It's all just like female thoughts, mad, hoes mad. And I'm glad that I'm able to actually show somebody, hey, you used to be quick like this. You used to be able to catch stuff when
Now
it
you're
was
now you're
thrown to
slowing
you.
down. Now you're
it's like
slowing down to your age, basically. Yeah, it's one of those things where like
exactly,
you got to
exactly.
remind people, like, no, just because you're getting up there in age, that doesn't mean that don't mean you can relax. Shit's still going to happen. And you're fucking right. I said it double. I mean, not double. I mean, MGTOW to win. You're damn right. I said it. You get you to talking. When you get you to saying something, you're doing something wrong. That's what makes win.
You may
That's what
be
makes
wrong.
win
Let
part of
me break this to you.
live streams too. Because like you fucked up if Win got to drop some knowledge on you, like he's an old man. He's like the old man in the back. What's that one joke? When the young boys are doing something stupid, they're trying to haul at a girl, and an old man busts out. Nigga, that's 5 to 10. Nigga, that's 5 to 10.
Yeah. Exactly. It was like, oh shit! Like you gotta run. You gotta get your hide tanned.
For real.
You gotta tan your hide. Yeah. I mean, but that kind of is the conundrum in and of itself. Is like, you can't have fun. Who are you to have fun? It's like,
oh, I'm going to have fun.
No, I know.
Now, here's the thing about my channel. Like, if you're doing something stupid on my channel and I deem it stupid and I know it's stupid and my children say it's stupid, I'm going to have fun at your expense. And the sad part about that, you don't get preferential treatment on this channel. Everybody's been yelled at in the live stream on this channel. So don't act like you're different. You just happen to have a thin skin and you happen to take it like a little bitch. That's all it really is.
How I see it is like,
because everybody's got. I've yelled at Win on this channel. I've yelled at Double I on this channel. I've yelled at Yam on this channel. I've yelled at Psyche Self on this channel. They all know that. Look, like I want the best for us, and I want everything to go well, and I want everything to go off with a hitch. So if y'all fuck up, I'm going to yell or I'm going to say something about it, and that's simply what it is. Like, I'm not going to change up who I am because you're a sensitive little snowflake. It's not happening. I've always been an asshole. I've been an asshole since day one. So you can't expect me not to be an asshole because you're in the stream. Like hell, there's been many people on this stream that pretty much got blazed out. So, and this is the thing I've always found funny about people.
Like Lonely and Dictionary, and which like they could all come back. They could all come back, but the problem is. Even
MGTOW Dictionary can come back anytime he wants to.
But
and as long as he ain't preaching bullshit, he can come back anytime he wants to. As long as he ain't trying to divide the whole entire community. I mean, the whole entire manosphere. He can come back anytime he wants to. it's one of those things where it's like, dude, look, no.
Do you think it's like a weakness of larger channels that they can't really manage their subscribers as well, and then their subscribers get away with doing dumb shit, and it kind of paints the whole channel to be like, oh, that's just where dumb shit happens. Like I think, like,
yeah, basically, yeah, that's where the dumb shit happens. Basically, yeah, it's typically how that works.
It was like it used to be good, and then all of a sudden they got a fan base, and then they started to people started to excuse them for their BS, and then the channel never grew out of its original problem.
But the sad part about that, though, something I've noticed about the bigger channels is when you watch their views versus how many subs they got, it looks kind of ridiculous sometimes. It's like, wait a minute, you got this many subs, but you only got this many views. Like, I don't got that many subs, but at least I get majority of my views back. And shit, most of my videos after like 5, 6, 7 days go over my actual sub count.
Yeah,
which is actually pretty interesting.
People are just flat out like majority of people that watch my videos aren't subscribed.
Yeah,
but it's weird because you look at the ratio for other channels and that are bigger, and it's like they don't have.
Majority of people who actually watch your channel are not subscribed. I mean, they are subscribed, but the count is very, very low. Or majority of people that watch your channel are unsubscribed to them, and it's kind of interesting. Whereas like my channel, majority of the people who watch are sub to me. Like, let that shit sink in. Like, I can pretty much go look at every single last one of my videos and the breakdown on who's watching it. And the sad part about that is 80% of my 80% of my viewers are actually showing up to watch my videos.
If YouTube were to automatically unsubscribe people from you, would that fuck your analytics up? Like, would you not be able to actually see it view it properly?
I mean, yeah, it does. But the sad part about that though is there are people that just look for there are people that are just subbed to me just to look for me. So if they got unsubbed, they would just basically go in Chico Trent. Like, that's literally what it is. Like, and I always found that funny when that actually happens, because there's actually a large I have a large Latin base, and I also have a large female base, which is actually pretty funny. And the sad part about that is they'll type in, which is apparently, yeah, I know, right? I got them girls that like masturbating when I get angry. I got to fulfill their fantasies every now and again. Got to do a Friday Night Blaze every now and again so I can turn them on.
I think that's probably how it is in my life too.
No, but I'm just joking. But for all intents and purposes, a large amount of my base is actually Latin speakers, and then the second largest is usually like the philosophy, and the third largest is female. Then there's a small group of people that are from like just Lord knows where, but then also have a small amount, like 20% of the people who watch me aren't sub to me. So 80% of the people are who actually aren't. So 80% of the people are actually sub to me. Then when you break down the females, all the females who watch me are sub to me. Not all the males who watch me are sub to me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that with my gaming stuff, I feel like I attract an audience that I guess doesn't really even support the core message of my channel. But I mean, the message of my channel is very ambiguous. It's about like positive masculinity, and I don't know if that actually marries well with like the gaming industry in general, because I just feel like it's not very masculine anymore. It's kind of more focused on, if you look at Twitch, you get a good idea of what exactly gaming is to majority of people. So that's why I've been considering, like, that's why I've said certain things I've said in the past, because like, I don't know, I guess I just have to rechange the branding of my channel or something, because it just I don't feel like it matches well. Or I have to be able to partner with people like Tico or Dr. Disrespect, or we have to make gaming great again. That's like what we have to do. That's good, Kelly. What up, Double I?
Double I in the comment section. You better be working on getting my damn niece back, Double I. I want to hug my niece again.
Yeah, I still got a lot of stuff to teach homeboy over there, so And you said I got to teach it to him, so I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I want to teach him what gaslighting is, so he can literally, his teachers.
I say my niece, not my nephew. I say my niece.
He can fight. He can fight back against. He can get his education, and meanwhile be fighting back against the establishment.
Yeah, yeah, but the sad part about that is like everybody has a role on the show. Everybody has a role that's on the panel. So the panel would always stay the panel for all intents and purposes for this reason. And the sad part about that, I love my panel for that reasoning. And I love when I got to drag in somebody where I got to actually pump life back into the actual panel because the panel's sucking. And if I have to pump life back into the panel, that's when you know that's when the panel's actually not on their A game. And I typically and the sad part about that, I toned down all the live streams that we used to do because I noticed that we were starting to slip as a group of people. So I toned it down a lot just so we can actually get back to the basics and get back to who we were as human beings in the live stream.
Yeah.
And the sad part about gaming, Laszlo was actually on the front page of Twitch 2 days ago. He actually made the front page with a bunch of Twitch thoughts.
Well, I'm full of shit then. I didn't know that.
Laszlo actually made it on the front page. He don't make it on there too often, but we go out and celebrate every time he makes it on the front page. Because Laszlo has a nice little following of like anywhere between 20 to like 11 to 20,000 people that actually watch him stream. Like that's Laszlo's numbers by himself. Most of them are women, though. I'm not even going to go into what I believe they're thinking, but most of those watchers are actually women. And that's typically how that works.
At a certain point, you just gotta let if you want to make any progress, you kind of just gotta let that stuff fall. That's like petty stuff.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I don't know. I agree with you, but like I don't know if you want to make money as a person, you should be. I don't know. You should be like finding a way. How can I minimize that in my own life? Like how can I minimize that pettiness? And it's like I don't know. That's a huge problem for me because that's why like I don't know. I don't want to be available to people like that just so they can use me. I don't want my kid to be like that either. But yeah, if I got to make money, I got to be able to like circumnavigate that.
Yeah, and the sad part about that is that the Twitch channel makes a lot of money because like somebody's always streaming. Even when I'm on YouTube like right now, somebody's always on the channel screaming. Let it be Talia, let it be Kieran Dashari or both. Cartel Princess, every now and again you'll see her on there. She got a nice little following. I think out of everybody, I get the lowest amount of people I get the lowest amount of viewers on my channel for the fact that I don't really interact with anybody. I just basically just play the fucking game. It's typically what it is. Like, so I'll just go on there, I'll just play the game, and like I'll see somebody in my comment section say something to the extent of, "Oh shit, that was savage, Tico. That was real savage." You don't have to do that, man, like that, parachuting out of the sky like that. Like
I don't shoot parachute.
Like I'll shoot somebody while they're parachuting out of the sky.
No, I don't do that. I let them land so I can take them.
Oh no, I shoot them before they land. I'll double tap somebody in a heartbeat. Oh, you're coming down near me? Oh, that sounds like a threat to me. Tap tap.
See, I just.
And the sad part about if you actually look in your scope, they'll slump over on their parachute as their parachute goes down and they crash land.
I mean, it depends on their level of training. Like if you're
it don't matter. If you parachute near me, you're getting shot. It don't matter. Sure. If it's too close for comfort and I got a sniper rifle on me, you're getting shot in the air. That's simply how it works. Like,
what if you're fighting if you're like guerrilla though? What if you're under? What if you're trying to use the environment? You can't just be shooting bullets, wasting ammo, shooting at people in the sky.
Well, no, because the sad part about that's the best way to use it. Like if you're in the canopy and you see somebody parachuting down above you, shoot them. They don't know where the bullets is coming from. They can't respond to you. That's a kill for all you care. Yeah, I will sniper the fuck out of somebody in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will sniper the hell out of somebody in a heartbeat. I don't care. I'm a savage in the game. I've actually shot somebody in the nuts one time in the game. I literally like double tap somebody in the nuts in the game. Like I don't even play. That's how you know. That's how. And the sad part about that, here's how you know when I'm actually on a battlefield. If every single time you come out and I'm mad at you in real life, if you step outside the base, you get shot multiple times. That's probably me.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's my lack of training. I think that gets me yelled at the most because everybody's like always pushing Yam to train harder. Like Double I always used to tell me that it's like you gotta go above and beyond. What
And the sad part about that, you really do. And the sad part about that is you really do, because it actually forges you into a better person or a better human being for all intents and purposes when you do that. And if you can't, it just sucks. And it's like you fall to the wayside.
True.
It's like you become a nobody. And this is the reason why I always push the people on my channel to do better, because I know they can do better. And I'm never going to push them to do something I know they can't do. Like I pretty much know y'all skill set, so
yeah. I mean, I'm not.
I know all your skill sets. So at the end of the day, I know what you can and cannot do. So the minute one of y'all the minute Double I go to me, I can't do that, Tico. I go, yes, the hell you can. I know you can. I know you. Or the minute Win says some shit like that to me, I'm like, okay, that's nice. I mean, I'm gonna still need you to do it though. It's all about the different interactions between all the people that I have. Like, because I can say some shit like that to Win. He goes, Tico, I can't do that. Yeah, okay, my ass. I'm gonna still need you to do that anyway.
I guess because like you said it when you're in the Apex video. I was like, I guess I don't really approach it like I got friends on when it comes to the live stream, because like I know how people are, how they respond to people. So it's like I'm not going to think that the advice that people give me when we're on air is 100%.
Yeah. And the sad part about that is,
because I know how people want to be perceived by others, and I know exactly how, especially when you have not the upbringing, but when you have like the career to sort of, I guess, speak for your own personality. I kind of assume how you're going to act, even though you claim that you don't care. Like somebody doesn't care. I don't care about what people think. It's like, yeah, but you're actually otherwise. You very much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And that's the sad part I've noticed about a lot of people that spin in the string. Yes, you do. You so care. Because if you did, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. And you won't be making videos about it. And the sad part about that is, like, if I make a video, 9 times out of 10, I've probably heard something over and over and over again for the last, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months before I actually made a video on it. Like a good example of that is when I made that video on Mr. Elite and Hammerhand. Like, I've had in my comment section, Hammerhand will do this, or Hammerhand's this, or Hammerhand's that, or Mr. Elite this, or Mr. Elite this, Mr. Elite that, And the sad part about that is I listened to that for like months on end. And the sad part about that, the original video was only supposed to be about Hammerhand and my thoughts to basically debunk everybody's bullshit. The sad part about that is I was hearing a lot of shit that everybody was saying about Mr. Elite. So it's like one of them things where it's like, I might as well just put them both in the same damn video and just make a video about it. Tell everybody how I feel about this.
You like connected the dots. And,
yeah. So it's like one of the things, I might as well make it one big video, so I can make 2 videos out of this shit and call it a day. Because the sad part about that, when I actually say something, it's because there was a lot of goofy motherfuckers in my comment section for months on end trying to get me to actually come to their side or get me to agree with the stupid shit they were saying in my comment section. And that's typically how that works. Because usually, like I said, the turnaround for a video, for me to do a video, is usually 4 weeks to a year. So 9 times out of 10, if I'm doing a video, this shit's been in the wraps for about 4 weeks to a year. Typically how that works. So I'm not going to do some shit right off the bat. There's shit's always going to be like There's always going to be shit coming out that that's going to be timeless. Usually, this is just why I like my videos because they're pretty timeless. So when I go and do it, especially when I do the live podcast, it's going to be timeless for the fact that it's just now coming out. But the sad part about that is I've been sitting on that topic for about 4 weeks to a year.
Would you say like, because like since I'm not on my actual channel, I can have like a little bit more identity with it. Like, would you say the content that I put out back like 6 to 8 months ago, would you say like that stuff is more, it speaks louder than like what I actually say now? Because now I'm more invested in the channel. Like the kind of stuff I think about now is like, wait, isn't Prime Ruler somebody else that we know? Like that's the kind of stuff that I think about on a day. Like, isn't that's like a different? Like that's somebody.
Yeah, it's Corey Stills' other account.
Oh, okay, there we go. See,
it's Corey Stills' other account.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. But like when I was posting videos way back, I never was really invested. So it kind of like the videos had less of a like a relevant. They had less of. They're like more socially relevant, I feel like, than some of the more recent, some of my more current stuff. It's almost like it's gotten diluted or something over time.
Well, it's not the fact that it got diluted. It's more or less the fact that you're basically trying to fight against stupidity and the shit that people would do and say.
Yeah.
Personally, because the sad part about that, cancel culture life is really real. And the sad part about that, this is typically why a lot of MGTOWs don't show their faces, because cancel culture is real. Because people find out very quickly how real cancel culture is after they get done shaming a MGTOW, like, you should show your face, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. Then they say something stupid, then they're getting canceled. They don't got a job no more. They got put out of their school. Their apartment complex put them out. It's just shit like that. Like, now how do you feel about showing your face now? Do they get on there, start crying like, I don't understand why everybody's doing this to me. I'm a victim. Like, MGTOW doesn't do that. They just keep on keeping it moving.
Yeah, keep on pushing. Like literally, I've kept it pushing this whole time, even though I don't know how many people knew about it.
You just have to be more careful about your content because of who you are and the proximity to your jobs and shit like that. You have to be more careful about yours so you can protect yours. It's pretty much how it works. This is typically why you do it the way you do it. Now, don't get me wrong. Could you go back and do it the way you used to? Yeah, just don't show your face. Pretty much.
Well,
would be the best way I can
change. I don't know if it's changed a lot or if I think it's changed.
I mean, you can still do. I mean, you can do what you're doing now. And you could also do what you did in the past, but just don't show your face.
Yeah.
Or come up with a name like I normally do when I want to change the mood of like I got internal Sadist, I got Tico Trend, I got fucking dark skin Tico, or you can always change the mood. Every now and again you'll see Kaye show up. So it's one of those things where like if you want to change up to everything, you pretty much do it that way.
Yeah. It's not that I don't. It's not that I can't do that. It's just I'm worried about because I'm different than you. I'm worried that people might associate it with like having multiple personalities or. And the thing that Corey's asking right here in the chat, it's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Amazing Lucas has liberal Lucas and regular Lucas.
Yeah, Amazing Lucas and liberal.
He has liberal Lucas. He has regular Lucas. That's pretty much how I approach things. It's almost like my devil advocate play on things.
I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to be like, because the only thing that I feel like I'm at odds with my audience with is like, if you're more liberal, you're not gonna like Yam. But then I feel like if you are liberal, you're gonna like real life Yam. But it's just like I'm not at the point like personally, I guess, because I'm following this MGTOW thing where I'm willing to show my life and show my face because I know exactly what it's going to do to people who don't agree with it, especially if you have a living or if you're trying to make a living doing something that is for all intents and purposes like blue pilled or something like, or it's like that's what's going to happen. You're going to get rolled on. And I guess I get that. And my channel's tied closely to myself, so I guess I could change it up. But yeah, I'm just worried about multiple personalities.
It's not really multiple personalities. It's basically a nice way to be able to look at things and actually be all encompassing for all intents purposes.
Yeah, I just have not seen anybody else do it. Like, it's been a while before I even realized, like, oh, Dr. Disrespect's a good example because he's literally a persona. But me, I'm just more authentically myself.
It's not a persona. It's basically you. It's basically one of those things where, like, it's like I'm saying, basically play devil's advocate. It's one of those things where, like, Tico Trend as a whole is a brand for itself. The sad part about that is Tico Trend is more right-leaning or more conservative than Internal Sadist, whereas Internal Sadist is always up the middle. And it's typically one of those things where it's like, if you ever listen to me talk as Tico Trend, it's one of those things where, when you listen to me talk as Internal Sadist, it's one of those things, it's a mindset, basically. Like, it's basically a third world country mindset. Like I said, when what's his name was on the show. Because every now and again I'll flop between Tico Trend and Internal Sadist, where I'll say some shit like, well, I'm sorry, they should either be swallowed or they should have an abortion or should be forced sterilized. That's typically how I feel up the middle. Like, I don't care what's going on. Correct yourself, or you deserve everything you get. So it's one of those things where it's like, you get an ultimatum, and that's pretty much how I feel at that moment, if you're going to keep on pushing this issue. Like,
here's my issue then. Because what you're saying is, yeah.
So that typically is my center view on everything. My view on everything is, normally I would be more nice about it, and I'll be more conservative about it, and I will approach it a bit differently. But normally, Internal Sadist tends to be the liberal. I mean, not the liberal, the libertarian. And Tico Trend's more or less the right-leaning personality in me. So it's one of those things where, like, when people say I'm not being fair, if you see the Internal Sadist name, oh, I'm going to be all types of fair, and you're not going to like it. So, like, in other words, Internal Sadist is more or less devil's advocate, whereas Tico Trend is like right-leaning. Look, no, we're doing it this way. Let's go. Whereas Internal Sadist
okay,
is like,
well, so which side would you say?
Sounds stupid. How about we just do it like this? Huh?
Which side would you say is more, more or less, I guess, at the beck and call of, like, advertisers and sponsors? Because I can kind of relate to with what you're saying. The only thing is, like, that's the only use I see myself being to people is, like, if I can be a face for something for you. But, like, when it comes to my channel, I'm fully fulfilled with my channel. I like my channel. I like the way that the videos are set up. And it's like, as much as it benefits me a little bit too much for me to keep things the way that they are. And I wonder how they would be if I were to, I guess, like, morph it around another value that I have, like, say, making money, for example. Or it's just that I don't know. I don't perceive that as being good for me, because the way that I've made it for myself has been good for me so far. It's just like, how do you differentiate the two?
This is like, it's not the fact that it's more or less for branding or for, sponsorships. It's more or less the fact that you got to find a happy balance to actually meet your audience's desires for all intents and purposes. Like, because I remember when I first started this, I was the most meanest, most javist, most ignorantest person in a whole entire world in the manosphere. Like, I would literally give McTown
Would you and I have gotten along back then? Probably not. Huh?
What'd you say?
You and I probably wouldn't have gotten along back then. You probably would have said, like, I'm a pussy ass bitch or something.
Well, the sad part about that is back then it was more or less one of those things where it's like, I was a very outspoken, right-leaning person. So, like, I basically was all the stupid shit that liberals do, but smarter. I was basically like an outspoken, right-leaning person. So if I thought some shit, I used to call shit like I see shit for all intents and purposes. And I used to hurt people's feelings. I used to say what's honestly on my mind in people's streams. That's who I was for all intents and purposes. That's who I am. The sad part about that is I actually started toning down the whole entire Tico Trend thing And the sad part about that, a lot of people were getting upset because I wasn't as much of an ass. I was an asshole, but I wasn't the asshole that they knew me as. So typically, how that worked was, because I said this in the live stream one time too. Like, I got to find a happy medium between Tico Trend past and Tico Trend present. So this is typically when the whole entire internal sadist thing, the whole entire internal sadist thing came into play before that. But it's one of those things that was meant to carry on no matter what. Because it was one of those things where, like, I was an asshole so badly that it made the old Tico Trend look like a schoolboy.
I guess it's like the difference between our channels is like my YouTube categorizes mine as gaming, whereas it categorizes yours as education.
Yeah, mine's all
so it's like if I want to be in that category, I actually have to educate people. But it's like the way that I perceive things, like devil's advocate.
The sad part about that is what I've noticed is if you're labeled as education, you can get away with a lot more stuff.
Yeah, I realize that too. And it's like
you get away with a lot more stuff. If you're gaming,
if all those videos were like in my car,
you can't get away with as much stuff as you could if you were education. Like a good example of that is if you're playing like an adult game on your console. If you're education, you can actually get away with that adult game. If you're gaming, you can't get away with that adult game. You see how it works?
Yeah.
A good example of that is the chick that's breastfeeding on YouTube right now and has both her breasts hanging out, and she's breastfeeding her 4-year-old. She can get away with that because she's education. Not comedy, not gaming, not entertainment, education. This is typically one of the many reasons why I say you should pay attention to how you approach your channel and your algorithm, because if you learn it properly, you can actually overcome the algorithm for all intents and purposes. This is exactly why my channel is education and not entertainment or comedy or gaming. Because I know what I can do under each of the categories, and I know what I can't do under each of the categories. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know because Jaguar actually inspired me for the term positive masculinity. When you think about that, you kind of think of all three of those things summed up into one. Like, but the thing is, like, I feel like I've taken it only down one of those rabbit holes, and I haven't actually gone down the other rabbit holes or the real world. And I feel like it's just been all through, like, I guess one scope of that. I like triumvirate thing, like the positive being positive about the things that you do in life. And like I'm inspired by True Sherm. Like True Sherm is kind of like him. I have a lot in common. And like you and I feel like you and I do too, which is why I'm trying to.
Well, the sad part about that is the reason why this Tico Trend channel actually exists is because of True Sherm.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wow. So, see, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a lot of things blend together for me.
Yeah, it's like, that's pretty much, because I remember I told True Sherm, I remember I actually opened up and actually told that in the live stream. I was like, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for you in the car, this channel wouldn't even exist. I would still be over there in the Spanish Manosphere being Spanish. Like, if it wasn't for True Sherm in the car, I would still be watching the English Manosphere. I would still be sub to all those people, but I would have never came to that English-speaking manosphere.
Yeah, I think my problem was I was never a part of any manosphere until I became a part of the Ticosphere. Like, that's what's fucked up about the whole situation. Like, I don't have all these references. I basically grew up in my own head with gaming and positive masculinity and only worrying about myself. And then I went...
up in the Ticosphere, that don't mean you're not a part of the manosphere, because you are a part of the manosphere.
No, yeah, exactly. No, exactly. I mean, but it's like there's not a lot of use. All I can do is really have my actions speak for myself when it comes to that, because I don't have all the steam that I feel like a lot of these people who are in an older bracket than I do when it comes to certain stuff. Like, I'm just not willing to debate over certain stuff. It's like how I feel is how I feel about it. And I'm trying to just move on and become a better person. And like, I don't know. I think that should be the difference between, to me, it'd be the difference between being like given a participation trophy all the way up until a certain point and then having to prove it, as opposed to just not participating in the whole, knowing what you got going on for yourself, and then just being like, I don't want to accept any praise for that. That's just who I should be. It's not like I'm doing anything extra. I'm just being myself. So I'm not going to ask for
about that. That's all I ask you to be on this channel is be yourself. You ain't got to be nothing extra. Just be yourself and bring your B game or your A game. That's all I ask, basically. The sad part about that is people try to not be themselves, and they always try to overcompensate to try to fit in with everybody else. And it's one of those things where, like, they fuck up the whole entire dynamic of the channel, and they fuck up the whole entire dynamic of the panel. And the sad part about that, when I pull together people based on their weaknesses and their strengths. Like, the sad part about that is, the funny thing about that, I will always talk about, like, my weaknesses, but you would actually never know what my weaknesses are. So I typically pull people to fill in where I'm weak at for all intents and purposes. But nobody actually knows what my weaknesses are. But everybody knows that, I pull people based on strengths and weaknesses. Everybody knows what my strengths are, but I've never once divulged what my weaknesses are for all intents and purposes. And the sad part about that is I'm able to actually hide that behind the fact that I got a bunch of other people who could make up for whatever the hell I need them to make up for all intents and purposes. It is what it is.
Oh, I don't really have a problem hiding behind other people.
Well, it's not the fact that I want to hide behind other people. It's the fact that sometimes it's typically what I said in our one stream when I said about you can tell how I feel based on my avatar, or you can tell the mood I'm in based on my avatar or my name. If I just put Tico Trend, I don't really feel like being there. I really don't feel like being there in the first damn place. And it's so true. Like, and the sad part about that, it's so true. If you ever see Tico Trend, just plain Tico Trend under my name, under my avatar, you already know the feeling that I'm actually having. I don't feel like being there. There's some bullshit.
Like, yeah, okay. So then, like, me hashing that out, because I noticed you got a lot of different ones, but it's like, for me, okay, well, let me describe then, like, because I have a lot of different ones that I don't think I've defined yet. But for Yam, I would say Yam is like full-blown MGTOW, kind of like that. It's like I don't want to deal with talking about like the intricacies, but it's like almost like I'd have to make a different, like, the red pill peddler would actually have to be the person that's talking about relationships and stuff. Reluctantly.
Yeah. Yeah, but Yeah, but the different avatars basically signify my mood. And the sad part about that, I use two or three different avatars for internal Sadist. So you can tell the type of mood I'm in based on the avatar. Like, this one's my typical internal Sadist avatar. And if I go and change it to, let's say, this, if I change it to the skeleton, usually I'll tell it to change it to the Steph playing the cello, or I'll change it to Death with the prayer beads. You can typically tell my mood that I'm in based on those three avatars. If I'm going to do like Tigo Trend SYSBM, you'll basically see the lone wolf, and you'll see the girl with the dress, like kind of sort of over the wolf, basically, for all intents and purposes, while the wolf stands apart from the actual woman. And you'll see the dress like over the lone wolf, like she's protecting the wolf with her dress for all intents and purposes. That's typically one of the things that I actually show. But if you just see Tico Trend Red Pill or Tico Trend, normally I just show it with like the lion with the flags. So you usually tell what type of mood I'm in based on the avatar that's being portrayed, that's up there in front of you for all intents and purposes.
Let me ask you something then. Do you think like women are more able to put up with like a guy's BS or something? Because to me, how I see it is like when I'm in a certain state of mind, like being Yam or something, it's almost like I just can't put up with somebody giving me BS. But like if I were to like get in touch with my feminine side, how it's said a lot in like the new age thing, it's like almost like you become better at like managing. I guess like understanding like your place and stuff. That's why I say is like my core thing when I'm Yam. It's like I I can't be. I don't like to like listen to. I have a problem with authority, like that kind of thing. And so that's why I shouldn't. Yam shouldn't really be showing his face now. If it's like Yamcha, or if it's like somebody who's approaching things more intellectually or trying to be more like, I guess, contract himself a little bit and look at it from a wider, big picture view, that I think I could show my face. But it's like those are two completely different, like, I guess, personalities.
Because this avatar right here is usually my devil may care attitude. Basically, it's like I'm going to say the most craziest, most nicest, most simplest shit to somebody if I have this avatar up. It's always going to be very intelligent. It's always going to be very. It's going to be one of them things where it's like, I really don't care what you got to say. Fuck off, die. Shit like that. I'll say to somebody like, I don't really like you in a stream anymore. You can go hang yourself. Like, and I would literally say that to somebody with this avatar for all intents and purposes. Or if somebody's like actually trying to play victim or they're trying to do something, I'll pretty much pull out the avatar, the one with the cello, with the deaf scythe playing the cello. Deaf with his scythe playing the cello. Because that's typically how I feel about that person in the stream at that point in time. So every now and again, you'll see my avatar change based on how I feel in the middle of a stream. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, you're fucking up now.
Yeah.
But like, you can usually tell what type of mood I'm in going into a stream based on my avatar and my name. Like, you can tell I don't want to be there if you just see Tico Trim.
That was really no ox shit. That was no ox shit. And me, like the things, like I've been managing them in these live streams, but like I kind of I made way like a lot of them. Like, I almost got to go back and log them because I feel like there's enough to pretty much be in every single branch of like content on YouTube. Like, I've literally created so many different aliases and names and stuff. But I remember no ox shit in the back. Way back in the day.
Yeah, that was the funniest shit.
that was like where I actually got to learn about the internal sadist and like what he's like. Wait, you're just like you don't want to be there. And I don't know if I was Yam during that time.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be there.
If I was
being more, it's always one of those things like you don't want to be there when internal sadist shows up at all. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, that's the guy that got the gun, that got the army, that's going to decapitate you. You might want to run. That's pretty much the overall feel of internal sadist says for all intents and purposes. It's like, no, dude, like, I'm from Central America. I will kill you. And I will say that on live stream casually, like it's like I'm drinking a beer. Or like we're just talking about girls. I'll kill you. That's typically what it is. It's like one of those things where it's like, I can do it in such a way and make it sound all casual. Like I'm saying, would you like to come over to my house for dinner? Would you like to be decapitated?
Or like, I feel like Friday Night Blaze Friday Night Blaze was like almost like a Venus flytrap.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. The sad part about that is that's another way you can actually tell what type of mood I'm in based on the name of the live stream. Because usually, what a lot of people don't know, well, some people do know, that's been with me for a long time, the Cartel Princess actually picks the titles of the streams. Like Lazo came up with a couple titles on the streams, but the Cartel Princess usually comes up with all the titles of the videos and most of the titles of the streams. So a lot of the titles are actually made by the Cartel Princess. Like a lot of the videos that I have that I upload, they're titled by the Cartel Princess. I think Lazo came up with Table Flip and No Ox Shit. Was the ones that Lazo came up with.
No ox shit. That's funny. He came up with no ox shit.
He came up with no ox shit, yeah. This is when he actually made the rules. The typical rules. And Lazo was actually the idea behind we not repeating the same topic over again. We're going to do new topics. We're not going to repeat the same topic over again. So that's actually Lazo's rule also. Where we keep on moving on and we don't rehash the same topic. And we don't rehash the whole entire same topic in the same stream on another stream for all intents and purposes. That was that stream. That stream is over. Unless some brand new information comes up and we can rehash it again. That's the only way we're going to talk about it again. No information come up. We're going to leave it at that in that stream. And so, like, it's one of those things where, like, you have to progress throughout the streams. Now you can go back and actually take from a stream and say, remember when you said this, that, and the other? Okay, yeah, this, that, and the other. And it actually applies to this now. Now you can do that, but you can't be like, we're going to talk about this whole entire topic all over again after we done talked about it in regulators. No, you can't do that. That's not how it works.
Well, basically how I see it is like the rules are like really simple for me, so it's like they're easy to follow. But the more complex they get, the more I'm like, I can't stay here. I got to just say what I got to say and get the fuck out because I don't belong here, obviously.
Well, it's not that, though. The sad part about that, the rules only apply to no ox shit. The rules only apply to no ox shit. The rules don't apply to table flip. The rules don't apply to Chu Sherm. And the rules don't apply to do Zangs. So they only apply to no ox shit and forum. But it's all about how you perceive it and what the forum's actually going to be about where the rules don't apply. Like a good example of that is when you do a forum, like you typically throw the rules out the window and we just keep on moving. Whereas if Double I does a forum, we keep the rules intact and we don't tend to deviate outside of the rules. Whereas I've noticed when you lead a forum, it's like, fuck everybody. They getting roasted. Like, okay, I guess it's the path we're taking today. I'm in. Whatever crazy shit you got going on, I'm in. And that's typically how that works. Because the thing about it is like people don't realize that that's pretty much how it works.
Yeah. I'm not
the rules only apply to no ox shit because I don't need people that don't belong in a manosphere starting some shit with people that's not here to defend themselves, and I ain't got time to have to cuss that person out because they talked about that person in a live stream and they talked about this person in a live stream. Because I'm not typically the type of person that you can actually just approach randomly out of nowhere.
It's like with certain things,
slow down, motherfucker, slow down. You ain't coming at me like that with no bullshit. And the sad part about that, like I said, I respond to everybody the same in messages based on how you approach me or what you're saying to me for all intents and purposes. So everybody gets the same thing. Like I remember the one time when RPaw said something to me and I go, "What, nigga?"
I don't know, man. You know, it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where like I had the same response to everybody across the board. It's like one of those things where it's like either you're going to get like me, like okay, and you're why, you know, or you're going to get what up, my nigga, or what, nigga. You know, that's typically like the response you're going to get from me in my private messages, and Hammerhand knows it because I respond to him sometimes like that too, and sometimes I respond to him like, okay, what's up, my nigga. You know, stuff like that. We have like the funniest conversations in the world in private chat.
Oh my god! Like, no, dude. Literally, I had a dream once that like it's gonna sound really dumb. Like, I had a dream once, and like the conclusion, I was so off and weird. It was like Hammerhand. It was because I remember it was around the time that he was doing, or he wasn't posting content for a while.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't like it's not. I didn't really watch him a lot. Like I said, I like to stick with the more upbeat people. Whereas he's like he's more for that audience that's actually going through it and stuff. And then like I feel like Barbarossa and stuff, you don't really get to see the everyday what that person goes through. And it's something I've actually been trying out with this channel is like, what exactly is it like to be just like casual and approach things? Because literally like a lot of the attitudes in MGTOW are really like they're hardened, you know, they're very hardened, like battle.
Well, that's typically what I like to do on this channel. Like the whole entire premise behind the Relentless show was, and to be honest with you, the whole entire premise behind the Relentless show was basically because True Sherm was going through some shit.
Yeah, he's going through it.
He's going through some shit, so it was either meant for him to have fun or vent his frustrations. And it's pretty much meant to vent his frustrations without any withdrawal or any worry about any fucking thing. Basically, it's basically like True Sherm at the gym, he's pissed, hit this speed bag tip or hit this heavy bag. Pretty much that's what it's really meant for. Or on the opposite end, it's meant for him to have fun. So he can pretty much do any damn thing he wants with the show. He goes, because I know sometimes he'll come in and go, well, Tico, I don't want to get you banned. No, nigga, it's your show. Do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. No, if you ever notice that, that's what I tell him. Like, I don't want to get your channel, this, that. No, nigga, trust me. I got this. Do what you need to do, pimp. Let it out. Let it out.
Yeah, I mean, The reason why I feel like let your enemies come to you is because and like perceive you as weak is because like when you really sit there and dissect what Sherm's got going on, it's like Sherm is like has a lot of strength. He has a lot of like
Yeah, he does.
About him. But like the way that he vents it, you would think he goes through life with everybody kind of like underestimating him or taking advantage of him or like taking him for granted. And it's like, and it's the reason why
and people do perceive him that way sometimes. But the sad part about that is True Charm will tell you about it. He'll tell you about himself in a heartbeat. Like it's one of those things where it's like, oh man, I don't even want to pick on this nigga no more. I gotta get this nigga a hug now. It's like you have that mentality when you're going in with True Charm, like I gotta get this nigga a hug now. I don't even want to pick on this nigga no more. I feel bad. Like
and later, so
things where it's like that's typically the approach you got to take with different people. Like Du Zhang's show was basically based on the fact that he was making a return to YouTube, and I'm hoping he's going to start up his channel so he can actually, parlay stuff from that show over to his channel for all intents and purposes, so he can restart his channel up at any time he wants to. But the whole entire premise of like True Charm's show was basically from to just vent and just go off the deep end, or have fun, and that's typically what I want to do with all the live streams for all intents and purposes on his platform is either have fun or go off the deep end. Either way, either or.
You can tell he's got a lot to do in his personal life, and like that's kind of like my take to the whole YouTube thing too. And but that doesn't mean I'm not fully invested in it. It's just like it's more of a social experiment for me because it's like I want to see what can happen. What's wrong with like putting yourself out there a little bit. And it's like I think a lot of people like a lot of people get it mixed up because they're like, well, Tico has it all figured out, so blah 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 blah. And it's like I don't know if it's like that. I think it's different for people.
About that is it's not the fact that I have it figured out. It's more or less the fact that I just make it look good. That's all. Yeah. Like the about that. Here's the thing that people don't really understand about me. Like, dude, I'm just good at making it look good. That's all. Like, I just bring the shit together. That's all I do. Like. Half the time, I don't know what's going on that day, what's going on with a person, how another person's reacting, what another person's going through. I just basically make it work. That's all I do. So it's one of those things where, like, I'm able to lead a horse to water and make it drink, whereas other people, they can't do that or they can't pull it off. It's not one of those things where it's like, I have everything figured out. It's more or less the fact that a nigga had to go through a lot of shit to actually make this shit work. Let it be businesses, let it be life, let it be this channel. I basically had to go through a lot of shit to make it work. And the sad part about this, it's kind of like what I say about the whole entire Kodak moment thing, the camera thing. When you look at a camera, when you look at a picture of a couple, you don't see the trials and tribulations, the fights, the everything that went on before that to get to that moment.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's just so easy to replicate. It's so easy to replicate an image. You just go to the same place where it was taken and you take it again. Yeah, you can't replicate the way that somebody looks at a landscape and paints it from memory, life, and experience. Like just because I went to Italy doesn't mean I grew up there all my life to be able to paint it from like what I actually know. I'm gonna paint it how it looks, and it's like all I have is really my perception to do it. Whereas that person has like their senses, they're literally rooted there. Like they were born there. They grew up there their whole life.
Not the horse. This guy.
But
I know.
Yeah. That kind of stuff. And then just the fact that like anybody can take a picture of something and completely replicate it in actuality, that it almost makes a person more skeptical of like
about that is a lot of people don't know is it's one of those the only way I look the thing that holds it all together and the thing that makes it seem like I got everything figured out is the fact that I'll just either commit and own it or I'm just more realistic about things. The more realistic you are about things, the better off you'll be.
But okay, so then that's the thing, because like whenever you're realistic, people in the natural world, they think that you're dodging responsibilities and stuff. Like they
well, no, when you're realistic. You're basically telling, and this is typically the type of feel that this is typically why a lot of people like me, because I don't tell you something that you might be over to do. or you can't do. I tell you something that I know you literally can do. You see what I'm saying? That's my approach to everything. I'm not going to tell you something because it's almost like one of them one size fits all things. Where like my approach is one size fits all, whereas everybody else's approach is you need to do this, you need to climb this mountain, you need to be better than this, you need to learn how to fly higher than an eagle, you know, all this extra shit. And you got the people over here go, well, you'll never be nothing, you'll do this, and nobody likes you, and everybody hates you, and you'll never be anything, and you're an incel. I'm in the middle where I'm saying, look, you can do this shit, you can attain this shit, and here's how you can do it. Where you got all, you see what I'm saying? That's typically my approach to things. Like you can literally achieve everything I say if you actually just do as I say, or you know, do it to tailor what I said to basically fit your life, so you can actually progress in life. And the sad part about that, people don't want to do that. People either want to complain, or people want to make it more complicated than it needs to be on the other side. You got to fly over the eagle. You got to jump up in the air like 90,000 feet. You got to snatch the eagle out of the sky. It's like shit like that. Like I make it more realistic. I make that what they're saying over there more realistic and more obtainable and more reachable. Whereas on the other side, they'll say, like on the far side that I always pick on, the emo black pillars, you'll never be anything. It's over for you, bro. You're not tall enough. You're ugly. You're this. You're that. You're this. And it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, fuck y'all guys. Y'all got some bullshit going on. Here's a realistic view on this. And that's pretty much how I approach it. I don't sell you a dream. I sell you reality. In other words.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like because you know my content. I feel like better than I do. Like because you're a subscriber of mine.
Yeah.
And you watch it. Whereas so it's like does it feel like I do that, or do you feel like I like try to overcompensate or hide something about myself?
Well, no, because the sad part about that is like you're fine. You're fine where you are. The thing is though, it's all about like, you know, just advertising your channel and stuff like that. You basically got what you need and the tools you need. And the sad part about that, you're like that. You have that everyday guy next door vibe.
Every day.
Okay, I didn't say do zangs. I said that everyday guy next door type feel.
Like,
so like you're like that. So basically, in all other
Casino Royale.
You're basically like Mick. You know, like they say, the girl next door. You're the MGTOW next door.
Well, it's like okay, that's
so you're like you're like the very wholesome MGTOW channel for all intents and purposes. You're literally like the MGTOW next door. That's pretty much the channel vibe. That's the vibe that I get from your channel.
That's funny.
The MGTOW next door.
Or the MGTOW downstairs.
No, you're not that one. Trust me, I could actually name a couple people that are the MGTOW downstairs.
Oh
the MGTOW in the basement. The MGTOW under the bridge.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a main level MGTOW. I'm definitely not a basement MGTOW. I don't know.
That I get from your channel, and that's the thing
that I love about the thing that I love about Double I is like Double I. He's seen me in action. It's funny because he's like you're a main level MGTOW, but you could be like a 50th floor executive level MGTOW.
You can for all intents and purposes. And this is typically the things that frustrate me about Double I. Because I know he can actually do better and go far, but the Double I always gets caught up on some shit. Like, nigga, pay attention. You almost got hit by that truck. Follow me. Don't get hit by the truck anymore. Damn Penske trucks.
Damn Penske trucks. No, but that was funny though. Like he was like, that was so funny when he was like, "Where's my chicken?" And she was like, "It's on its way. It's thawing. It'll be ready soon." I just thought that was just like so. It was just epic. It was just actually epic.
Yeah. This is another reason why I keep his ass around. What's up, Hidden? What, Billy Goat left? No, that was Hanley Lowe that left. Okay, I was about to say Billy Goat left. Yeah, and the sad part about that is like I keep it real with people. I don't try to. It's like a good example of that is when you hear all the other MGTOWs talk, they talk, but it's almost like one of those things where it's like when you listen to them, it's like you can't reach their goal. You'll never be where they're at, or you can't, you can never attain where they are. Like, it's pretty much what you feel when you actually listen to other Mick Tallers or other Red Pillars. It's like you feel like you never reach it. Whereas you listen to me, it's like, look, you can reach that. I'm gonna just break it down for you. I'm gonna put it on easy mode for you so you can get there. That's pretty much what it is. It's pretty much all those guys on easy mode, if you know what I mean. What's up, Hayden?
Well, no, the irony of it is like, yeah, sometimes when I feel like when I'm on Tico Trend's channel, I feel like the difficulty's been turned down because not a lot is being asked of me, as opposed to like I got
this motherfucker talk about. Oh God, this guy Hidden MGTOW. I don't have a private jet. Let it go.
Wait, who said that? Oh, it's
Hidden MGTOW. I'm listening to y'all guys at work. If y'all get me fired from work, I'm jumping on Tico's private jet. I don't have a private jet.
Oh, that's not my goal at all.
A nigga flies regular. A nigga flies regular like everybody else. Shit.
I don't think that if you listen to my content, you're gonna end up losing your job. I think that like it's just like your wherewithal, your resolve is you're likely to see a lot of projects go down around you, not because it's like your fault, but just because you're comfortable enough with yourself to actually move on from that and see that and confront that failure or confront whatever it is that's going wrong and move on from that and grow as a person, hopefully, because it's like, I don't know.
One thing that actually agitates me about Double I too, now that we're on this topic, is he understands constructs, but he doesn't understand dynamics and chemistry for some odd reason.
I don't really. I mean, he said it once. He said like Wind and we see certain parts of the construct, but we don't. But we like complement each other, kind of like you were saying before. But like, yeah, he sees the whole construct.
And the sad part about that, he sees constructs, but he can't see dynamic. He can't see dynamic and chemistry.
Yeah, it's like Wind can pretty much sit well in it. Like it's like if you go back to that one where he brought in Roseblades, that one perfectly displays like everybody who was in there is dynamic, because you got Psyche Soap over there acting a fool, going "Grr, I'm mad at you."
Yeah, the sad part about that. Yeah, the sad part about that. That's like a funny dynamic that they actually have. Him and Roseblades actually have dynamic in real life.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. Like you said, like the whole thing was dumpster juice, but like there's a lot of redeeming qualities about that dumpster juice that if you study it, you get to understand.
Yeah, there's a lot of redeeming qualities, but the sad part about that, those redeeming qualities came when Roseblades was actually introduced. That's the sad part about that. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Like, I didn't want to have to bring her in, but it made it more interesting. And then it made Psyche Soap. It gave Psyche Soap extra dynamic and extra layers for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, it like goes on with a power up.
Yeah, it's like you literally got a power up from that shit. Then you had life in the comments that you talking shit, which is actually pretty funny. It made everything funny, because the sad part about that, everybody came in just to talk shit, and I'm okay with that. If you talk shit on people, that's fine. Like if you're in the comment section, you can talk all the shit you want to on the people on the panel. But if you're on a panel, at least respect somebody.
It's almost like, it's like to be honest, it's like sometimes it's only ever time to talk shit. Like when Double I wants to talk shit, but like that one particular stream was like we didn't have anything to talk about, so we were just talking shit about talking shit on each other, and bringing Rose into that was perfect because all she does is just talk shit straight to your face about you.
Yeah,
which was like it was funny. It was so...
Like, if we're gonna be talking shit, we might as well make this interesting because this shit is boring.
That shit was so
I wouldn't
funny.
even participate in that shit. I was literally like dozing off, like in that stream.
I was tired too because I had just worked a full day, and I was like, I'm still gonna give this everything that I got. But like,
the sad part about that, you were there, you showed up. Everybody else, on the other hand, it's like the fuck.
Yeah, asleep at the wheel. Oh shit! Oh my god! Oh god! It's terrible when I can't look away.
Yeah, it's so terrible when I can't look away. Yeah, and the sad part about that is like I literally fell asleep in that stream multiple times. Laszlo had to tap me to wake me up, or when I fell asleep, I smacked my head off the wall,
when I fell asleep because I smacked the back of my head off the wall and I woke up like, oh shit, what's going on? Where am I? Who am I? Where am I? You know, and there's shit like that the whole entire stream. And it literally was dumpster juice up until I pulled her into the mix. It's like one of those things was like dynamic and chemistry change. The sad part about that, Psyche Soap and Roseblades feed off each other so perfectly. It's fucking funny. It's like the funniest shit in the world. Like legit. If I could bankroll it, I would get Psyche Soap and Roseblades a morning show on a radio show.
Yeah, exactly. I would
because it would be the funniest shit in the world for them two to play off each other's dynamics the way they do. It would be worse than Howard. It would make Howard Stern look like he ain't shit. Because the sad part about that, I can see the dynamic, and I can see the dynamic and the chemistry that they actually have. The same thing goes for MGTOW and Win, because MGTOW and Win would go, I don't get along with women. Then as soon as Roseblades come in, they're having like long ass
like that. That's okay.
Like,
so then,
nigga, what?
Because that was like that's pretty much my dynamic too with it. Yeah, like I feel like my dynamic is malleable because I've grown up around I've grown up around certain women that are just like they're they like their personality. I like their personality. So it's like
the sad part about that. The women in my family have the same attitude as Roseblades, only they're more violent. That's the best way to describe it. This is typically why I like actually jive with her. Because if anything about that, she's literally like my sisters or my aunties, but they're more violent than she would ever be. Like she's violent verbally, they're violent literally.
Yeah, it's because like I don't know, I don't like getting tweaked and stuff by women in general, but like it doesn't mean I can't learn from something that they like how I see them act and behave. It's why I like that I sent you that Amber Heard video because I was like it's interesting to see how like well I'm not saying she's a good example of it or anything, but it's interesting to see how certain people react, like how Jason Momoa did, and they don't have any reservations about it. They're like, nope, this is how I'm going to act in front of this person, and it's so strong. It's just like so much strength that you see in that person's resolve and that character that it takes to actually do that. Whereas like it sounds the same as when somebody you're shooting the shit, then a woman comes around, then they start changing up, act all different and stuff for whatever reason. Like
you want to know the funny thing about Jason Momoa's character, Jason Momoa and being in character, he actually has a better dynamic with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman than he does with Amber Heard's Mara.
Yeah.
You can actually tell the chemistry is better between them than it is between her and Amber Heard and him. Because the sad part about that is like there's a lot more joking behind the scenes on that. Despite the fact that the movie was shit, the Justice League. Despite the fact that the Justice League was shit, all the actors actually have chemistry. Literally have chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
like even when they're doing even when they're doing like press junkets where they're trying to promote the movie, like it kind of reminds me of the cast of the Avengers before Brie Larson came into play.
Yeah,
like they were always
like
joking and cracking jokes on each other,
chilling, just buddies chilling.
Yeah, like they were really cracking jokes on each other, trashing each other, talking shit on Tom Holland about him having like a whole entire base camp and shit like that. That's simply how that feel was. Then like Brie Larson, when Brie Larson joined the whole entire cast, that's pretty much the same. That's the same dynamic that him and Amber Heard had after Brie Larson joined the cast of Avengers. Everybody disliked her. Everybody was like throwing glares at her. People were like side-eyeing her, throwing smart-ass remarks at her.
Yeah. It's funny, man. It's like every college lecture I've been in. It's like that's exactly what happens. It's like you hear somebody say some shit, everybody's like, "What did that motherfucker just say?" It's like, oh,
right.
Shit. Oh my gosh, and it's just like that kind of it's not bad that to talk shit on that because that person somebody needs to tell that person what's up. I'm not gonna spend time talking like trying to argue with that person to like make that person like wake up, but somebody's got to do it. And sometimes and a lot of times that was like my family members
like my sister or my mom or somebody or some just somebody related to me or somebody culturally who to like actually red pill that person and wake them up out of that just their delusions, their delusional habits and stuff like that. So it's kind of weird because you're you could say like the actors aren't bad people. It's just the people that plan them. It's just the people that are planning,
put them
funding
together,
all.
or they did some very poor planning. Basically, don't get me wrong; they can pull off some good movie stuff sometimes. But the sad part about that is that ends up being like if they pull out if they do bad movie shit, that's usually like the writer and the director. But if they got good chemistry, they got good chemistry. You can tell they got good chemistry. However, you can tell where they actually fucked up in the movie. Let it be the writer, the director, or anything. Like a good example, the only thing that saved the Aquaman movie was the fact that they had a really, really good They had a really, really good writer and directors and special effects persons, because them two really didn't really have any chemistry at all in that movie. They were like, they looked like one of the awkward kids. It's like, no, she it kind of reminded me of high school, where the one girl got a crush on the jock, but the jock ain't paying her no damn mind. That's what it pretty much looked like to me in the Aquaman.
Yeah, a little clown.
Yeah.
What does he mean? Tico's saying, "Oh, he's living in clown world."
Huh?
I think Shinobi wants fed up with clown world. He wants you to sell him another reality.
Well, unfortunately, you gotta traverse your way to clown world. Unfortunately, at this point in time, if I come up with something, I'll let you know. Next stream. Oh, goodness gracious.
I mean, look at Sherm's situation. There's nothing you can really do to get out of that. You kind of just got to power through it. You can't escape.
Because he lives in one of the most expensive apartments in the whole entire world, so he's basically just screwed where he is, because he can't really do much about it, because he got to pay so much for that apartment because of California and shit like that. Now, if he lived in a place where like the apartments were much cheaper, he would actually have more breathing room to do anything he wants. Unfortunately, because he lives there, he's pretty much tied to that right now. And it sucks, but it's true.
Yeah, to a certain extent. Yeah, I mean, you gotta. I mean, I see it as like a learning. I see it all as a learning experience. So I kind of like you gotta go through something in order to be able to like speak on it. And I think what he's doing is he's trying to help people around him. And
well, about that, Shushan is actually the epitome of minimalist.
Yeah, exactly. He's foregone everything, and that's why I relate to him a lot.
See that, but the sad part about that, he takes minimalist to a whole nother level, especially if you're living in California.
Yeah, man. It's like, but the irony of it is like you can't take anything away from the guy. All you can take away from him is money, and he's already had that taken from him before. So it's like he's literally like he's a force of nature, savage roar combo.
Yeah,
he's like I wouldn't want to be on his shit list as a person.
Definitely, you definitely don't want to be on the shit list if he's mad at you. Because we'll make a video about you and be a rat.
Did you hear him during that? Oh, the last Relentless? He was like yelling at pedos. He was like, I will fucking kill you, brother.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like,
yeah, but it's just funny things like that. It just makes it so funny when you actually meet people like that. But the irony to it is like it's all about how you carry yourself and move through life for all intents and purposes. And it's one of those things where like you actually have to learn, because like everybody says, well, you have to go through this experience to actually learn something. Yeah, that's an experience. There's a difference between making a stupid decision and an actual experience. Like a good example is something that came up recently. Well, no, you don't understand my situation, dog. Okay, yeah, I do. You're basically throwing up a straw man to basically trying to make it sound like you're trying to be smart when you're pretty much your IQ's below room temperature right now on what you're trying to say. Because my son Laszlo sitting right next to me right now and he says, that's the dumbest decision you ever made.
Wait, so are you saying IQ is situational?
It depends on like a good example of that, like African Americans have the ability to be great.
Okay, so let's say, sorry, let me give an example. So if I don't capitulate and I pay for it, did I have a low IQ when I made that decision, or was I focused on something else? Did that just
things where, like, you probably had a low. Like a good example, you can actually have a low IQ, just have a low IQ. Like there's a lot of those people. Then there's people that have a low IQ when it comes to certain things because they're distracted by certain things. Like normally I would say ass and tits, ass and tits. You can have a low IQ around that too, because you're not really thinking. You're thinking with your little head.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
But when I say people have a IQ below room temperature, that simply means actually overall letting you know what the fuck their IQ actually is. Like, no, look, nigga, you might be able to come up above room temperature every now and again, but nigga, you're below room temperature. That's typically how I feel about the person. And the sad part about that, if you got to make an excuse, then make another excuse, then come up with a straw man, then make an excuse, your IQ is below room temperature. Like, if you're not willing to actually understand what you're going through and understand this is the reason why you're in the mess you're in, you have an IQ below room temperature, you don't quite grasp reasoning or logic. It's typically how I feel about it at that point. And like I said, I can actually understand anything that happens to me. I grasp the whole entire gravity of the shit going on around me. I can actually step outside myself and look at it at a 360 view. And I can actually step back in myself and go, okay, I'm going to need to do this, this, and this so I can get out of this shit. That's simply how that works. And the sad part about that, people like that tend to actually always make stupid decisions over and over again. They make excuses for why they get to make them stupid decisions. Like a good example of that is to basically combat his argument. Well, no, you need to do. Well, you never know you're doing right until you do wrong. How do you know you're doing wrong unless you do wrong? Well, how do you know you're doing right unless you do wrong? The problem with that is here how it is. Best way to describe that to you is everybody is born into this world with the ability of right and wrong. Everybody's born to that. Everybody's born into this world with flight or fight. Those are basic animalistic instincts that everybody has in this world. You can't deny them. If you don't listen to them, you're probably going to be stupid. You're probably going to end up in a stupid situation. That's simply how that works. It's simply what happens when guys know that the woman's bad, but they're looking at her ass and tits, and they end up in a relationship with that woman. That should happen.
Yeah. That's terrible. That's just tragic, man. I wouldn't wish any of that on anybody.
Yeah, the sad part about that is if you end up in bad situation after bad situation after bad situation, you're no different than the women we talk about in the manosphere.
Exactly. I don't want to be like that.
And the sad part about it, if you know anything about me, I hate hypocrites. I hate hypocrites. Like, I'm not going to let you sit up here on my channel and talk shit on people for the same shit that you're actually doing in your own personal life. Like, I always say, look, just because I'm a criminal, I'm not going to talk shit on criminals for being criminals because I would be a hypocrite. Typically how I feel about that across the board. Like, another good example of that is when I talk about my daughter, Talia. Sometimes I want to knee her in the chest and throw her in the bushes. Reason why I don't throw her in the bushes or knee her in her chest is because she's a spitting image of her father. So therefore, I would be a hypocrite if I did that. You see what I'm saying? I'm not a hypocrite. I'm able to associate that and actually able to know when I'm actually, if I do something, I'm going to be a hypocrite about it. The sad part about that, we got a lot of people who are hypocrites who want to point fingers at other people when in fact they're doing the exact same thing that those people that they're pointing fingers at. So now you're projecting what you got going on to other people, despite the fact that it's similar to what you got going on. Now you're trying to project your behavior onto other people because you don't want to correct your behavior. So you want to point at other people when they're doing the same behavior that you want to do, but you don't want to fix your own behavior. And now I have a problem with you. Now you're a problem. I can't have people who are not willing to fix themselves or correct themselves or not be hypocrites on my channel, because that goes against the overall goal of my channel, is to better yourself and be better by yourself and to make yourself a better version of yourself. If you're not willing to do that, then I have to cut you out of my life because you suck as a human being. That's simply how that works. And the sad part about that, people always say, well, Tiki, I think you were being mean. No, nigga. If you seen what I seen when I was actually doing it, you will realize what's happening. If my 6-year-old can actually look at you and go, that's a dumb nigga. You're a dumb nigga. It's that simple. Like, no, like, because he's actually in first grade. If he can actually determine that you're a dumb nigga, you're a dumb nigga. What part of that aren't you understanding? Like, I literally consult with Lazo before I go in on somebody. I look, Lazo, what do you think about this, pimp? Are you understanding what's going on here, pimp? This and the other. So anytime you see my mic go quiet, mute on an actual live stream, I'm consulting with my son Laszlo about what he actually heard, and does he understand what the shit that's going on? If he says, I understand the shit that's going on, and he elaborates on it, then when I come back, I gotta roast your ass. Like, your ass got to go because you're actually dumb. You're dumber than a fucking box of rocks. If my 6-year-old can actually tell me that he could beat that argument and how he'd actually argue the argument away, you're a dumbass. You're a dumbass. Like, that's simply how I feel. Like, no, you can't say, well, no, that's because you went to school, Tico. No, my 6-year-old is actually sitting next to me, and he actually made the determination that we got to get rid of his ass. He's not, no. He's like, yeah. And the sad part about that is like, and that's the problem with that. That's the problem with a lot of people that come in on a channel and stuff like that. Like, I can't have people that's not willing to do good with their lives. I can't have people on the channel that want to stay stagnant and make excuses for why they are. Because at the end of the day, like I said, everybody comes with the base instance of right and wrong, and they come with the base instance of flight or fight. The same thing about that is they also come with the determination to actually be able to answer this question too. Okay, fine. So you want to date somebody like that? If your mom was hot, would you date your mom? If the answer is no, then you know you're doing wrong. You need to fix that shit. That's typically how that works.
Yeah.
Like, or another good example of that is what the old people say to the young people. So if your friends were jumping off the bridge, would you jump off the bridge with them?
Yeah. It's like,
if the answer is no, you know you're fucking up, fix the shit, and move on. Yeah. Don't be a bitch nigga about it and just be crying about it. You're fucking up. You just don't want to accept the fact that you're fucking up, and I called you out on it. It's that simple. Because like I said, I can be the nicest Tico in the whole entire world, or I can go TFM Tico on you, or I can go nuclear.
Okay, perfect. You brought it up before I did, but it's because he had the whole masculine presenting trans. I made a video about that. It's different when somebody who shows their face says that they are, as opposed to somebody saying it online as a joke. So I've actually tested it a lot, and it's like if you're a liberal, it's kind of like you don't really know. There's no way to deal with it, but you're leaning right, so you just nip that shit in the bud. You're like, you're not a woman. I just thought that was funny when you said that, because I was like, I want to come out as masculine presenting trans, and you were like, no, not on this live stream. You're not gonna do that.
No, not on this live stream. No, because the sad part about that is, like, I expect you to be a man no matter what. I don't care. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're straight. I don't care if you're trans. You're a trans
woman, midget, or whatever.
If you're a woman that transitions to a man, if you're a woman that transitions to a man, I expect you to actually be at the level as men and be at the same mentality as men. And I'm gonna treat you like a man. I'm not gonna treat you like what you were. I'm gonna expect you to be a man. If you're a man, you're on my channel. You're gonna get treated as such. If you're relatively on my channel, you're gonna get treated like a man. That's typically how that works.
You notice that a lot now. It's like the way that people dress, like when they're trying to do the gender fluidity, the way that they present themselves is kind of like you can still kind of tell what they are, but you can see what they're going for, and that's almost like a message in and of itself. It's like I respect people's ability to like rebrand themselves and change their image and stuff, but there's a certain level you got to change.
Rebrand yourself and change your image, but
it makes everything confusing though when you like say like it's like no, make an exception for me.
This is the problem with a lot of the stupid people have on my channel. I approach my channel like I'm a father because I am one. So if you don't like anything I got to say, 9 times out of 10, I don't hurt your feelings. And that's something that you need to work on. That's something that I need to work on. That's something that you need to work on because I tapped into some feelings and I hit some feelings that I tap dance on that you need to work on. That's typically how I feel about it. I don't care how you feel. You need to work on that. Well, you see, no, Tito, you hurt my. No, I don't give a fuck. Work on it. And exactly what I said multiple times. I don't want to hear no excuses. All I want to hear is I got this. I don't want to hear no excuses. And I kept on saying that multiple times in Friday Night Blaze. If you notice, I don't want to hear no excuses. All I want to hear is I got this. No excuses, got this. And I said that multiple times. And the sad part about that, the people who actually watched my stream caught on to that. And they were like, oh, I see what's going on now. I get what Tico's
Yeah,
going.
yeah. I was kind of early to the party on that one because I don't know. I feel like I've been just sitting back watching the way things are going, particularly because I have no room for error, like in the way that I've set things up on my end. So it's kind of like I'm not going to be jumping into all of these like I'm not going to be doing things just for the hell of it because I want to learn from right from wrong. Like I actually just want to just like I don't know, just have fun and like treat the whole thing like it's like it doesn't even matter for the most part. Like I don't want to take this stuff too seriously, or as seriously as like some other people take it, because to me I feel like it's more just about having fun and like
It's all about having fun, but what you can't do on my channel is fuck up the whole entire message. You're not gonna fuck up the whole entire message on my channel. You're not gonna be out here saying some bullshit or some snake oil salesman shit. Because at the end of the day, when it comes down to that whole entire dynamic that he's talking about, is the woman has to literally give you the right to do so, which means she's actually more empowered than you are in power because she can stop it at any fucking time. So
that's funny that they both said
not the one that's
change the dynamic
and dominant in the whole entire relationship, because it was her that actually gave you the right to do so. It's typically like as pretty much any fucking relationship in this whole entire fucking world. The woman allows you to court her, date her, and marry her. That's it. You don't got no say-so in this shit. As much as you think you're all that in a bag of chips, the woman allows you to court her, date her, and marry her. The sad part about that is, like we always say, a woman's in charge of like letting you have sex with her, no matter what. That's her job. That's basically what she got going on. You're not having sex with a woman and she doesn't want to have sex with you unless you rape her, which is totally stupid. And I'm probably going to want to kill you. And along with all the other guys in the whole entire world that are not rapists, they're probably going to want to murder you or hang you. Typically how that works, how men think when it comes to rapists. Same thing goes for prison. If you go to jail as a rapist, you're not going to live that long in jail. If you're not if everybody in the cell block knows what you did, your life is over. You're going to have to stay in solitary confinement or stay somewhere where nobody knows why the hell you're in jail. The minute somebody finds out, it's going to go around the jail real quick and your ass is grass. It's that simple. So you can't say men promote rape culture when in fact women actually promote rape culture. Facts. The sad part about that is
and then they like I said, if you train them to get what they want by being all submissive and stuff, they're literally you're subverting men's ability to actually control their emotions because they're being sold a false
here's the thing
then they get roped into the
because he missed this whole entire thing because he didn't even realize it. He didn't realize it when I said it. Because a lot of people caught it, but a lot of people missed it when I said, okay, fine. So you're a dom and she does all this stuff for you. Okay. Are y'all still together? No? Okay. Why not? No excuses. Why not? Well, I told her to stay there. Nope. See, you fucked up. That relationship was never even, you were never had the power in that relationship in the first fucking place. She had all the power in that relationship. And that's exactly what I said. She had all the power in that relationship for the fact that if she actually really wanted you, she would have came with you. Which lets me know that you had no power in that relationship and you really weren't the dom person in that relationship. Well, no, you don't know. Stop. No, I know exactly what I'm talking about because that's psychology 101. You had no power. Now you're upset because I'm telling you, you weren't shit in that relationship because she should be following you. Well, no, I told her, no, you're making up excuses again. She didn't come with you because she didn't deem you necessary to actually follow. That's all it really is. That's typically how.
So if she was like you'd say like she probably made a good decision if she was more conservatively minded, right? But let's say that a man does bring value to something and he gets Me Too'd. Do you think that's just a result of?
Well, the sad part about that, if a man does bring value and he gets Me Too, 9 times out of 10, 2 things happen. 1, he didn't call her back in a timely manner, or 2, she felt slighted. Typically how that works. If you actually bring value to a woman. So now she wants to destroy your whole entire being. Exactly. That's typically how it works. So if you're actually doing something in a way, like a good example of that is because remember I said in the live stream, I'm not the greatest person to be in a relationship with. I'm very rough and the same way I'm on YouTube is the exact same way I am in real life. in a relationship. I'm a dick. I'm a jerk. And I do dickish shit all the fucking time. And you got to suck it up, cupcake. Typically how I feel across the board. Hell, ask my children. They'll tell you, Daddy's a dick.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm such a.
Every now and again, you get Daddy's a fucking asshole.
I'm the awful person. I'm an awful person to be dating. If you want your confidence boosted, you should not be dating me. Like,
and the sad part about that is, I'm like that to every single one of my partners because I'm not one of the people that I'm not one of the ones that talk about feelings. That's your fucking job. You talk about feelings. I'm not going to listen. You talk to the children, talk to your friend. That's typically how I feel about it. And the sad part about that is that's the dynamic I've always had in all my relationships. And the sad part about that is this is the same. Here's how you know when a girl is invested in you and you got some value to her. If you've ever been in a relationship and you're a dick to a person and they tell you, you're lucky I stick around because if the D wasn't good, I'd leave your ass. Obviously, you have value to that person. If they can tell you that shit and still stick around with you, you have value to that person. If you never heard that from a person, like I've heard that on many different ways, let it be on the job or let it be anywhere. Like I heard from our supervisor one time, I shit you not. If you wasn't in this position this long and I wasn't worried about having to train somebody, I'd have fired your ass a long time ago. Nigga, I got value. See what I'm saying? Like, if somebody can actually say that to you outright, you actually have more value than you actually know. This is typically how this shit works. Because what you can't do is say, I'm high value and I'm all this in a bag of chips and nobody follows your ass.
True.
Like, I look at it like this. Like, a good example of that is, if I told the cartel princess, I'm leaving you and I'm going to Spain. I'm going to live in Spain and I'm going to live up my best life. That heifer would be on the next plane to Spain after me, drop in on my house and be like, oh, so we're going to Spain with you now. That's typically how that shit works. That's the dynamic that we actually have because I know that I bring value to her life despite the fact that her family makes way more money than my family. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. Like, I bring value to her life, therefore she will follow me anywhere I go. That's typically the dynamic that you want. You want a woman that's actually going to invest in you, not you invest in a woman, because all that DNS is you're investing in a woman. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly.
You're investing time, information, and basically it's what I was saying about espionage. You're basically handing over all the information that she can use against you at a later date and time. You don't want that to ever happen.
Exactly.
He's a wholesome kind of asshole. Wholesome kind of absolute asshole. And the sad part about that, that's typically how that works. And the sad part about that, the reason why I'm an asshole is because I want the best for you. You may not see it right now, but I still want the best for you. I might be a dick about it, but it's because I have to be a dick about it because you're not seeing the forest through the trees. That's typically what I normally say.
Yeah. I mean, I would just say if you like good. I mean, go out and be a dick to other people if that's how you feel when you listen to Tico say something. It's like just take that and turn that around and use that philosophy, because that I think to me, even though he's not MGTOW, that's like living the MGTOW philosophy. It's like literally learning how somebody had gone through some shit and using that, and not just trying to I would guess say like spot a flaw in it or a reasoning or try to reason with Clown World or something like that, or trying to like control the dynamics and stuff. You see, like a lot of people all use dynamics and stuff, but I don't think they understand dynamics and chemistry like you're saying. Like I don't think they actually figure out that stuff until they get into a certain environment. And I mean, I think, don't get me wrong, Bane has a weakness. Bane has a weakness. Even though he was born in the dark and molded by it, somehow Batman is still always able to beat Bane in the end.
Yeah, unfortunately for a lot of people, what they fail to realize is I'm that unbeatable Bane. like nigga, I've heard this all before. I've lived through this. I've seen this. I've seen shit worse than you. A nigga done been through some wars. A nigga done been a security firm guy. A nigga done lived through the ghetto and the gutters and shit like that. A nigga done ran the streets. A nigga done sold drugs. A nigga done dealt with the cartel, the Crips, the Bloods, the Latin Kings, MS-13.
He
all
broke
of them.
Bane's back. Or he
I've
broke
seen
Batman's
this.
back.
I know this shit, and I'm good at this shit. I've been doing this shit for a very long time.
Crazy,
I already know all the arguments. I know all the excuses.
Because Batman can like beat the entire Justice League, but Bane can literally break Batman's back. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That he understands Batman on a fundamental level to like.
Yeah, the sad part about that is I understand everybody on a fundamental level. And that's typically all it really is. This is what makes me a dangerous person, because I understand everybody on a fundamental level as a human being. Then I understand everybody on a fundamental level psychologically. Then I understand everybody on a fundamental level on what they can and cannot do, and what they're willing and willing not to do. So the sad part about that, once you wrap that all up in a pretty bow, I know you. I've dealt with you. You're just a different person. It's basically what I say about women when it comes to relationships. You're nothing more than a warm body. You're nothing more with a warm body with the same damn face on it for me. That's typically how I feel about a lot of people. You're nothing more than a warm body with the same damn face that was arguing this in the beginning. There's nothing you can tell me that I haven't already heard. And that's typically, when I say that shit, that's when you know that.
You said that like when you were like,
if I continue on this line, people are probably going to TSM the hell out of me in this argument. That's typically how it works. Like,
right. They're like, don't expect it, but then they prod at something for a while. But like you said, it when they don't listen to nagging, and they don't realize like the truth that's actually behind like something that a woman is saying. They just say, you're just talking about men. You're just bashing men. But they're not actually listening to what the woman is saying. It's kind of like how I feel sometimes, because it's like you forget women are more social. They have more conversations with more people.
Yeah, they have more conversational skills than a man.
You go literally as a man, you go a whole entire week without talking to a single person. You're fine.
You can. You're fine. And the sad part about that, we always say in the manosphere, don't listen to what she's saying. Listen to what she's doing. I mean, look at what she's doing. Actions speak louder than words when it comes to women. The sad part about that is a lot of men get caught up on ass and tits or everything else, and they don't really pay attention fully to a woman. And this is typically what women rely on men not to do. Pay attention to them. This is kind of like the video that I did on nagging. I believe women nag on purpose, so they can throw you off their trail or scent of what they're actually fucking doing or planning. That's typically how that works. That's how I believe. They do it on purpose because they know it's going to agitate you to the point where you're going to stop listening to them, so they can always slip in some slick shit on you, and you're not paying attention anyway. You're not none the wiser because you'll just write it off as she's just nagging again.
Yeah, you like shut off all. You're like turn off brain, turn for brain function.
Yeah,
off.
Power down brain. Now she's telling you all the stuff that's actually going on. Because the next thing about women. And these thing about women that a lot of men miss is a woman will either tell the truth by proxy, like a woman will tell on herself by proxy, her friend, or they'll tell on themselves if they come home happy about somebody that they were talking to. Women always tell on themselves no matter what. Yeah, the same part about that, if you turn a woman off, you would never know that they're telling on herself. Like a good example of that is my favorite one was a woman that I worked with.
So funny.
A woman that I worked with as a psychologist, she goes to me and I quote, my friend such and such, she does this, that, and the other. No, that's you. That's not your friend. She goes, no, it's not me. I go, it is you. You don't have to lie to me about what's actually going on. Like, I can tell that you're actually lying. It's you that are actually going through this stuff, and it's you that's actually doing this stuff. No, it's my friend. It's my friend. No, don't worry. I'm not going to tell your husband, because anything said in here without your husband is confidentiality. Then she eventually opened up to me and basically said, yeah, it was me. The sad part about that, that's the thing about women. They'll talk about their friends like they're doing all this shit. Meanwhile, they're actually doing all that shit. If not, they're doing some of that shit, and her friends probably tag teaming in that shit. So for all intents and purposes, if she's getting dick 9 times out of 10, she's probably doing a twosome with her friend with somebody else. If she's talking about her friend. So either one or two things are happening. Either she's in a twosome with her friend, a threesome with her friend, or she's actually participating in activities that she's passing off on her friend. That's typically how that shit works. And a lot of men miss this shit and they turn it off and they call it nagging. Because men don't want to listen to what their friend are doing. They only want to hear what their wife is doing. But the sad part about that, women corner the market on communication so hard. They make all the service provider, all the cell phone service providers in the United States look like they ain't shit. They cornered the market on that shit. So when it comes to communication, women are better at it than men. They're more communication. When it comes to communication, they're intellectually smarter than men when it comes to communications. Like, especially when it comes to deception. Like, they're very good at it. Like, men only know logically how to speak. Women know how to speak to men on like some extra level shit for all intents and purposes.
They're thinking. It's funny that they always bring up like, oh, they bring up Donald Trump.
Becky or Barb or Fran or this person. No, tell me what you did when this is all taking place. Well, I didn't do anything. I just sat in there. No, see, you're either Barb, Becky, or you're either one of the women that you named that was doing that shit. So now I'm watching it. The rest of them notice now. And that's typically how that works. Anytime they start naming friends and saying what they're doing, they're one of those friends that they just named. They just don't want to admit the fact that they actually did something wrong because they want to look like this is pretty much what it is. Like I said in the beginning of this, women are good at social for the fact that they don't want to be embarrassed and they don't want to be found out. So they try to control the social narrative so they will never be embarrassed. Because the minute you embarrass a woman, you destroyed her completely. It's that simple. Because if you destroy a woman's social networking around her by posting all the conversations of her cheating on you or all the pictures of her cheating on you, you'll destroy that woman completely. And there's not a damn thing she can do about it. Because at the end of the day, if a woman is cheating on you, she's never going to tell you she's cheating on you.
Yeah, and then the longer that lasts I feel like is the longest.
She'll take it to her grave. Now, if you have evidence, she'll deny it up until you start breaking out evidence. Then she'll go, well, it's your fault. Or she'll basically blame you for her cheating on you. And this is typically how this works. Because a woman would never admit to act. Because if you can ask a woman now that cheated on her husband or her boyfriend, every single man have asked this. So would you have ever told me if I would have never found this out? Nope. I sure enough wouldn't have. I'd have took it to my grave. That's exactly how women respond to shit like that. So if you never would have known about it, they would have never told you about it.
Situationship, arrangership, or a relationship. What is it? If you can't be honest with the person.
If you can't be honest with the person, you're probably in an arrangership or a situationship.
Or a situationship.
If you can't be honest about the person, you can't be honest with the person.
Okay. So it's like, so I have two things to do first. But first, for that thing though, it's like, you can't count on a man to understand what he's in.
Yeah, no,
at a given point in time. But you can ask a woman, and you know exactly what she.
You know exactly what type of relationship they're in.
And she has the ability to.
No shit. I've met men that'll say we're in love, we're in a romantic relationship, we love each other. You talk to the woman, it's like, no, nigga, you're actually in an arrangementship or a situationship. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she's working. She can work on like 3 or 4 different situations, arrangements, and relationships simultaneously, and then just switch up her currency to be like, all right, now now I'm in an actual relationship. It's like they have way more power in that land. So to think that you can control the dynamic and then jump in from there, you also have like. So a lot of people consider Donald Trump. They're like, oh, why would you follow everything one man says? You can be deceived. It's like when a man has conviction, you're not deceived by following him. And it's almost like they never ask the question like, well, how is Melania deceiving Donald? Or how is everybody in Donald's life deceived, but been able to like attach themselves to him so easily and being able to coast through on all this stuff? They never question that side of it, but they're always like, Donald Trump's deceiving the people. You as a young ass woman, why would you marry somebody that's a billionaire? Because they're a billionaire. Duh.
Because they're billionaires.
It's the neat thing about this whole entire thing when it comes to situationships or arrangementships. The sad part about that is I look at it like this: if you're paying for a woman and she ain't participating shit besides pussy, you're in an arrangementship, nigga. You're in an arrangementship. You're not in a relationship at all. You're in an arrangementship. All she's offering is pussy.
Think about that.
You're in an arrangementship.
But I bet you if all of a sudden America was just like taken over, and the person instead was not Donald Trump, but it was like Xi Jinping or something. I bet you Melania or whoever, or like I bet you whoever was that female seat, if she had to, she would probably end up being with whoever was in power.
Yeah, the sad part about that is,
if she be with whoever it is, it doesn't matter.
That. I shit you not. If China today was to take over the United States, Chinese men would be in.
Yeah, they'd be the Chad. It'd be Ching.
Yeah, Chinese men would actually be in. If China took over the United States, hopefully it never happens, Chinese men would actually be in. They would actually be the trending thing, and every woman would be trying to date a Chinese man.
And that's how fickle it is. That's how fickle this whole thing is.
Women are. Yeah. Like a good example of that is Genghis Khan. Everybody was everything else. Then Genghis Khan run through. Now everybody's Genghis Khan. You see what I'm saying? You see how it works?
Yeah, right.
Women will always go to what their survivability rate is higher. Their higher survivability rate is, or they'll go with what benefits them best. That's typically how the shit works. So, if you're in a relationship and your significant other isn't willing to come and save you from any fucking thing, you're not in a relationship. You're in a situationship or an arrangementship. So basically, what's happening is she's basically just doing this until something better comes along.
Yeah,
now,
she's pimping you out.
Shadow of a doubt, because it actually happened once. But one of the times I actually got kidnapped that I've never really talked about by a rival cartel. This bitch.
I could tell something was coming when I heard the pause. I was like, oh, shit.
This bitch rolled in, guns blazing, several men by herself, not by herself, herself shooting guns blazing just to actually get me out of the situation I was in. That is some serious shit right there. Anytime a woman's willing to come in, guns blazing along the side of the men that belong to her father, she coming in guns blazing too. You know she's a dangerous woman. You know what she's after, and you know what she wants. And that's typically the problem that a lot of people don't seem to understand when it comes down to it. If I get kidnapped, just know this bitch is coming in guns blazing. She ain't gonna be sitting in the car. She gonna be holding the automatic weapon. Like, it's that legit. That's how important I am to her. She's actually willing to put her life on the line to actually help me.
Wow. Yeah.
And the sad part about that, she's done that multiple times. Multiple times. So for people to actually question, like, oh, well, she's only there for this. Well, nah, because she's invested in me for some odd reason. I don't know why, but she's invested in me. I don't know why, but she is. And I'll seriously tell you that, like, I'm still trying to understand this, that, like, the sad part about
okay, that. So that kind of bleeds into my kind of 2 points where it's like, just because you don't know why doesn't mean that you're being deceived, because like chances are they
part about I don't know why, but I don't want to actually admit that I actually know why, because I don't want to live that. I don't want to live that fantasy life for all intents and purposes. I actually know why, but I'm not willing to actually admit it for all intents and purposes. If you know what I mean. The sad part about that is that's typically when I say I don't know why this heifer does this shit. Like, because the sad part about that is this is the type of dynamic that we have. Like, if something was to happen to her, there's a high chance I'm going to show up with guns. If something happens to me, there's a high chance she's going to show up with guns and multiple people to actually handle it. That's simply how it works. Like, I'm probably going to go by myself, where she's going to come with the army. That's simply how this shit works. Like, and the sad part about that is, if you're willing, and the sad part about that is, I'm not willing to invest in the army to go get her. I'm just going to go do it my damn self. She's willing to invest in a whole entire army to come get me. You see what I'm saying? So the investment is different. She's actually more invested in me than I am invested in her.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, it's not that I don't understand about how.
Because I'm not willing to put forth any type of financials and everything to get together a team to go get her ass. I'm just going to have to handle it myself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not willing to go far. I'm not willing to pay no money. Like, this is where I always joke about. This is where the actual frugal actually comes into play.
I'm not like a good example of that is if something happens to her, I'm not going to call up True Sherm, Mr. Forma, Double Lie, True Yam, Americans, and everybody in the manosphere to actually come on my side to actually come get this shit. I'm just going to go handle it myself because I'm not finna spend the money for that shit because I'm frugal as fuck. That's pretty much what it is. I'm not finna put no more money into this than I've already put into this for all intents and purposes. You can put all the money you want into it, but I'm not putting any money into this. That's typically how I feel about a lot of the shit. And this is typically my whole entire stance on the shit. Like, I'm not invested in the shit no more than I have to. Like, really, I'm not. Like, if you're not there for me, I'm not going to be there for you. If you're there
this
for
is
me,
this
I'll
is
be
a
there for you.
completely like a vacuum question, but like let's say like a girl got pregnant, for example.
Okay.
When you discussed what like, or maybe when you hadn't planned on getting her pregnant or something, would you invest in a in like an abortion, or would you consider that not worth it to invest in?
Like, it depends on what she wants to do. If she wants to keep it. I'm there.
If you're gonna keep it, then keep it. Yeah, that's fine. But do you have a right to financially?
So like the choice is like a good example that I always talk about the one child that I had. His mom didn't want me in his life. Therefore, I'm not in his life. So she don't want me calling. She didn't want me sending me no money. She didn't want none of that stuff. And she's basically handling herself. That's typically how that works. Like, she's handling herself. She don't want me in his life. He's like the only kid that I had, like that I donated sperm for, that I actually have, that I'm actually not involved in his life in any way, shape, or form. Because that's what she chose, and that was her route in choosing that. That's pretty much how that works. Like I said, like all the other kids that I actually donated sperm for, they actually call me on Father's Day. Wish me happy Father's Day. They'll get me gifts for my birthday, stuff like that. Like, those kids are actually invested in me. Whereas that kid's not invested in me because all he knows is his mom and her family, and I'm a nobody for all intents and purposes. I'm basically nothing more than sperm in a cup.
Hidden asked the question: How do you articulate what it's like when you become an enemy to a woman? And how I phrase it is just like, well, to articulate it would be too gruesome a thing to like put on any YouTube channel. I mean, don't get me wrong, people have attempted it in the past, and I think it's different than being like visceral and being actually using a real world example. But
remember,
it's just, I think it's counterintuitive.
40 people died in one day.
Yeah,
the cartel just literally killed 140 people, decapitated them, disfigured them, like ripped apart, like cut off body parts and shit like that, hung them up and hung them all over the place under bridge trusses, had people's heads on like fences and pikes and shit like that, had body parts scattered throughout the park, had blood trails leading all over the place. That's basically what it means to being an enemy of a woman. That's the best way I can describe it to you. Whereas when the cartel killed 143 people, 100 or more in one day, that's pretty much what it means to actually be on the wrong end of a woman.
Yeah, true. I mean, I don't even know how that would even come across you, because I mean, it's mostly, I feel like there's two different categories. Like, oh, maybe you couldn't handle your liquor and you made a mistake, which I understand, but like as a person, you got to take responsibility for that. Whereas, like if you've already talked it out with somebody and you're deciding, you're working things out, you have time, you have options and stuff to actually consider, you probably would make a different choice in the matter.
The sad part about that is when it comes down to it, I would actually never make a mistake like that to actually have a choice, because I'm very smart and I'm very aware. One or two things would have to happen with me. Either I have to find you sexually attractive and want to have sex with you, or we'd have to come up with some type of arrangement. I donate sperm to you. That's the only two ways that we finna to do this. Like, well, I'm not.
I don't know if it was Hidden that brought it up, but I think Hidden.
I know. I'm not finna have a one night stand or just sleep with any damn thing because I got standards.
Well, somebody brought something up where it was like, well, they could always get you in your sleep and like get your sperm somehow when you're sleeping. And
well,
it's just
they can, but typically here's a problem. Why are you that close to that person if you don't trust that person?
No, I mean, like, no, but you just said, but you've even shed light on, like, I know it's a fantasy land.
I
but
know.
You talked about people will actually break in and do that, and like, I don't, like, that's a reality. I think, like somebody getting jacked, like, just
Okay, if that's the case, then if people are breaking into your house, why don't you have better security on your house?
yeah. Okay.
So why do you live in that neighborhood for people to break into your shit?
And stealing your babies. I don't know, dude. I'm just going. It's a hypothetical question.
Come to your house willy nilly. You probably need better security or you need to move. That's typically how that works. Because like at the end of the day, like it's one thing if you slept next to the woman and you didn't nut in her and she's jack you off in your sleep and she makes you nut in a cup, or you throw away a condom in her trash.
Is that real or is that real?
Pussy? That's two totally different things. Now if you're sleeping next to a woman that you don't trust that much, you probably shouldn't be sleeping with that bitch in the first place.
No,
If I don't trust the bitch, I'm not sleeping next to the bitch. If I don't trust her at all, I'm not sleeping with her at all.
That's fucked up, dude. That's fucked up. Wait. Just hold up. How early would you think that a girl be able to actually know how to do that and actually do that?
And that's the thing. Look, a woman pretty much knows your schedule better than you know your schedule.
Oh shit.
Women work on espionage. They pretty much know your daily routine. This is typically why they, like a good example, at the beginning of a relationship, if you ever notice, she'll text you quite often. Sporadically quite often. For no reason whatsoever, but to text you. Now you think it's cute or you think it's cool. No, she's basically learning your fucking schedule. That's all it really is. She's learning your daily schedule, when you can respond back to her, when you can't respond back to her. She's basically learning you. There's other ways to learn a man besides you telling her information or, anything like that for all intents and purposes, because she's always going to learn who you are. Let her be stalking you on social media.
Yeah.
Your text messages. This is typically why women are better at communication than men, because they can actually get information based on anything they do. It's almost like a spider. Like if somebody steps on a spider web, the spider web vibrates and lets the spider know that we got lunch. You see what I'm saying? The same thing goes for women when it comes to, they basically weave this communication web is the best way to describe it to you. So anytime something pings back to it,
that's so funny. Like
it vibrates up to a bunch of vibrations and they pretty much know what the fuck is going on. Every piece of information that a woman puts out there is a way for her to collect information off of you. So anything that a woman asks you, says to you, does or does for you, or sends you is nothing more than a way to collect information.
Echolocation. It's like echolocation, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like a bat sonar or a spider web. think of it like a spider web for all intents and purposes, because that's the best way I can describe it. Yeah. If you step in the spider web, it knows that something landed in the spider web because it vibrates all the way up to the spider. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how it works. That's the problem. And the problem that men have is they walk into this so fucking blindly, thinking I gotta respond to her, or this is so cute, or this, that, and the other, and they walk into it blindly. She's collecting data. It'd be no different than Google. You buy something at Walmart, and then you go to Google, and all of a sudden you got that product placement in all your Google ads.
Yeah, I mean, your social media is pretty much like a Wikipedia page that they could just Google about. They'd be like, what is this person like? And they look at your social media, and they're like, oh, that's what they're like.
Yeah, that's typically what one of them is like. They're basically Google collecting data off you on a regular basis, then selling it so they can get a better picture of you. That's typically how that shit. That's pretty much what it is. Like Janky said, they're collecting data on you. That's all it is.
Collecting data.
Anything they do, let it be a text message. Because here's the thing that men fail to realize about relationships. At the beginning of a relationship, a woman's always going to text you to get a feel for your schedule and a feel for your free time and a feel for what you're willing to do for her or what you're willing to drop for her and what you're willing to do. That's typically what women do. So a woman would text you at the beginning of a relationship just to get a feel for your schedule or a feel for how fast you can respond and shit like that. That's typically how women work. Everything they put out is all about receiving information back. That's all it is.
There's a girl that I was texting. It was that girl that I told you I was texting. How I got her number. I was basically trolling her, and then like it's basically like they're like, if you can't serve me, how can you be of service to me? Like, are you an IT guy? Are you like a provider? Are you this? Are you not? Are you slacking off at your job? Are you doing that? And it's like every little thing that you say basically gives them an indicator.
On your
and it's like you should just do it.
This is simply why I said in that one video, never divulge any information outside of your age, your favorite color, your favorite number, or your favorite food. Don't divulge any other information outside of that shit. If you do, that's detrimental to you. Think of it like this. Yeah. The more information you divulge to a woman, that's a threat to national security. That's the best way I can describe it to you. It's a threat to national security, and it's basically a threat to your national security. That's typically how you got to treat your information about you when it comes to women. It's a threat to your national security. So if it ain't your favorite color, your age, your favorite number, and your favorite food, that bitch don't need to know. That's pretty much how I feel about relationships. If it ain't none of those things, then you're on a need-to-know basis. I turned to the CIA. You're on a need-to-know basis. You don't got a clearance for the shit.
Yeah. And I mean, to be honest, like, you're right, and that's why it's kind of sad, but if she's around asking, like, what are we? You done already lost, and you should probably just, like,
no, the sad part about that, if she asks you, what are we? You pretty much respond, I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah.
But the sad part about that is, it don't matter what you say. It's all about what she believes.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter what you say. You can say you're in a relationship, but the sad part about that is she don't feel like you're in a relationship. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And this is simply why when a woman asks you that question, what are we? You be like, I don't know. You tell me. Because I'm lost right now. Like, literally say that to her. I don't know. You tell me. I'm lost right now, nigga. You tell me. Like, literally say that to her. Like, because at the end of the day, that puts the ball in her court, and now she has to actually do the investment and actually tell you what you actually are. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it don't matter what you say to her. You still don't have the power in that relationship. You don't have that power in that dynamics. Now you got to force her hand and make her say what we are. Because that way, the minute shit comes out of her mouth, that means now she's invested first, so now you can invest second. The minute you invest first, you fucked up as a man. You fucked up. The minute you respond to that question, say, I guess we're a boyfriend, girlfriend. I guess we're in a relationship. You're a dumb motherfucker. You never should have did that. You should respond to her like, I don't know, nigga, I'm lost. Tell me what we are. And make her actually say it first.
She's like,
make her say it first. She can't say it first, and she's playing games, then that relationship needs to end. Because now you're just being used, and you're in a situationship or an arrangementship. That's
America said that a lot of them are agents. They're all special agents.
They are. That's pretty much what they are. They're basically that's what they do. Like I said one time, think of women like a KGB agent. That's pretty much all they are. KGB. Like legit, that's all women are, KGB. Think of them like KGB agents. And that's the cold hard reality about it, and nobody wants to admit that, and everybody wants to get themselves into shit. But at the end of the day, that's pretty much all they are, KGB agents.
Yeah, if they're KGB, then what is MGTOW then?
MGTOW is basically the resistance. La resistance.
La resistance. It's like, though I try, the resistance is on.
We're basically resisting all the shit, all the bullshit coming at us for all intents and purposes. And that pisses people off when we can actually resist that shit. Because the sad part about that means that's people not following the milieu. And when you're not following the milieu, now you're a problem.
The DS dynamic. He can't handle a woman who's strong and independent.
It's just like the tabloids, man. The tabloids right now are just so much ideology.
Yeah,
It's like
because the sad part about
it's marry and
the
reproduce.
sad part about that, they always talk about the DS dynamic. At the end of the day, because I always said this to a woman, you can't. What is your definition of a strong woman? A woman that's willing to kidnap me in the middle of a dangerous country with guns. That's the strong woman in my eyes. That's the strongest woman you could possibly be. She pulling guns out on you, and everybody else pulling guns out on you. That's a strong ass woman. That's typically how I feel about what a strong ass woman is. Because I look at it like this: if she's willing to invest that much in her life into getting you and procure you, you obviously are value to that woman. If something happens to you, and she's on the front line shooting guns, because at the end of the day, I want you to look at it like this: how many women in the United States do you know, besides your mama or your grandmama, would actually be out there trying to find your ass, track your ass down and find your ass by themselves? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Yeah, true.
Think about that. How many women in the United States, besides your mama or your grandmama, would actually be out there ready to kill a bunch of shit over you?
Zero. Literally zero.
And that's pretty much what it is. If a woman's not willing to do that for you, she's not there for you. She's there for herself. That's pretty much all it is.
Exactly.
Just like a DS dynamic, she's there for herself. No matter how much you want to believe it or not, she's there for herself. Because at the end of the day, mine would actually come out guns blazing for my ass. Yours is just there to benefit herself. You think you're getting benefit from this shit. Meanwhile, she's benefiting herself from this shit. Because now she's gathering information off your ass. So later on, when she skip on your ass and find somebody else to do that shit with, now you're going to be upset. That's simply how that shit works.
No, you can't be upset. Well, that's like that double-edged sword.
That's why like Hidden will always come back with something I'm saying. That's why certain people on the panel always combat what I'm saying, because it's like at some level you do have to be able to tend with that responsibility that you have as a man to be able to handle yourself. But
see, that part about that. The only reason why America's DeVille's mom and sister would come from, because he's a Latino. If he wasn't Latino, he'd be left for his sister would come from because he's a Latino. And that's usually the dynamic between sister and brother. Your sisters are going to go in for you. Like, they're your hitters. They're your mates. If you're Latino, your sisters are your hitters. Your sisters are going to go in and fuck some shit up. Because typically how it works in my family is, I always tell men in my family that I told every single man that's always dated my sister and married my sister, if you do something wrong to my sister, because I know you'll come in and kill me. No, nigga. Shut up and listen. If you do something wrong to my sister, call me or call Trey. We'll come in and save you so we can negotiate your freedom. Because them bitches is going to kill you. Them bitches is going to kill you. Okay? Yeah. And that's pretty much all it really is. Like,
they'll get murdered.
Yeah, because somebody's getting murked. Because the sad part about that is, it don't matter what it is. Somebody's getting murked. Because the sad part about that, if you don't call us in time, we're going to be at the next Thanksgiving dinner wondering what happened to you. Like, where's such and such at? He's on a business trip. He's been on a business trip for quite some time. We normally hang out on Thursdays. This nigga has been on a business trip for a while. This nigga normally calls me. What the fuck is really going on? Have us sitting there on some unsolved mystery type shit, and the women sitting at the table like ain't shit happened. And they all was involved in the shit. Every single woman in the family is involved in the shit, and the men are just none the wiser. They done buried a body without you. And the story is, he's on a business trip. All because he raised his hand to his sister. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Think about that shit. Like, that's pretty much how it works in my family. The women are the strongest. The men are strong, but the women will kill you. The women will. My grandma has been known to try to kill people in her old age. Like, she'll walk up on you and be like, literally cut you and tell you, "Oh, it's okay." Shh, 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 shh. And she slits your throat. Like, literally. That's my grandma in a nutshell. I watch her slit somebody's throat and go shh, 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 and help them lay to the ground very softly. That's how savage my grandmother is on my dad's side. Like she literally cut somebody's throat and laid them to the ground softly and told them shh, shh, shh. As they're gargling, she's trying to make noise. She's trying to make shushing noise over their gargling on their own blood because she slit their throat. Shh, 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 shh. It's okay. It's okay. Lay down. You're fainting. I can tell. Lay down. And she does it all calmly and softly, and then she'll walk away.
Well, like I learned my standards from that, pretty much that cavalcade of people. It's like, yeah, just don't try not to gargle your blood because that's kind of an unpleasant sound.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear you gargling blood.
She does basically because my grandma's very sanitary.
But I'm suffering. She's like, I don't care. I don't care if you're suffering. You don't want everybody hearing you gargling blood. That's not good for how we look. We don't want to be perceived as weak.
Yeah, literally. That's literally your family.
It's like, wow.
People think I'm joking about this shit, but my grandma once burned down my mother's house about me. Like, let that shit sink in. My grandmother burned down my mother's house about me. Like, let that shit roll around in your head a little bit. She's willing to kill the woman who buried her grandchild, over her grandchild. So what do you think she'll do with somebody that's not family?
Oh yeah. Yep, they're dead. They're definitely dead.
Like, think about that shit. She burned down my mother's house. Like, legit. Fucking legit. They blamed it on crackheads in the basement. Like, think about that. The news blamed it on crackheads in the basement.
Oh my goodness. Everything will be okay. Shh. 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 That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, that's literally my grandma in a nutshell. Like, it's just stuff like that. Like, people don't understand. Like, my family is dangerous, just as dangerous as the next, if not more dangerous than most. Like I said,
I saw what Amanda said, and it's like, yo, dude, I gotta give it up. I gotta give you the benefit of the doubt, though. It's like, if I get how some people can be torn apart in their own families and stuff, and it's tragic, and it's like not all families are perfect, but
yeah,
at some point, your value for them extends beyond what anybody got to say about you here on the internet, or whether or not they want to shame you or something, because it's like those are the only people that really care about you. And even though they may say something that pisses you off, it's like they care about you, they want the best for you, and they're willing to put themselves in front of you, even if you're going like 100 miles an hour, just to control the blast, because they want to see the best for you. And I was like, if you got anybody in your life that's like that, whether it be your family or not, it's important to keep that person, to respect that person, how that person views the world. But like, there ain't nothing wrong with talking shit about our stuff every once in a while, because it's good. And if you don't do that, you're going to bottle it all up, and then you're going to let it out. And you're not going to be able to process it properly. So I think it's good. It's good to just be balanced.
Yeah, definitely. Because that part about that, the thing I've learned about family, even though my mom's sad, like, they might hate each other's guts, but if you fuck with one of them, they all riding on you. They'll all get in the car to fuck with you. Hell, they'll fuck with family for fucking with other family if that's the case. That's pretty much how it works. And the sad part about that is that's pretty much how that pretty much is set up for all intents and purposes. Because, like, your family, you may not think your family cares until shit hits the fan. And the sad part about that, you'll see how much of that fuck him turns into, oh, okay, who's fucking with him and who got to die.
Exactly. because I think that's one reason why, like, you look at a lot of like the true crime stories, and like one that I think you and I really will understand on a fundamental level would be like Grant Amato.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, because you're familiar with the medical field, and then I kind of like approach it because I don't know, I'm kind of like, I relate to him in a lot of ways, although I'm not that whole Beat Saber kind of gamer, though.
even though he's to game. I don't feel like we game on the same way. Like I'm kind of a hybrid, like a hardcore and casual gamer. Like I'm not gonna game when it's bad, like when it's bad for me. But if I have free time, I'm a game. Like that's just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But like his
That's
dynamic
a
was even though people don't like it, I'm still gonna do what I like to do. I'm still do what makes me happy. But like yeah, you know how stressful it is to like be in the medical field, and he like lost his job, and you know his only flaw really was just like spending. Well, he had a lot of issues, but spending all that money on like a Russian chat person, like a fucking cam girl.
No, I'm
Like,
sorry.
dude, come on.
I'm not willing to like. Here's my thing when it comes to women.
That's fucked up.
Like here's my overall. So people can better understand how I view women. I'm not willing to put in more time than you are. I'm only going to put in the same amount of time that you are. If we're in a relationship, if you ever ask me how much I love you, I will respond with, I love you at the same rate that you actually love me. And if you have to actually think about that, or if it actually hurts your feelings, that shows me how much you don't love me. That's simply how that works. And I'm always going to turn it back around on a woman, because I'm going to make her always address the situation first. Because I'm not finna address the situation until you address the situation. And that's simply how I feel. I'm only invested as much in a woman as she's invested in me. If she's not that invested in me, then I'm not invested in her. If she's not willing to go in for me, I'm not willing to go in for her. If she doesn't love, and another good thing about that when it comes down to it, how much do you love me? I love you as much as you love me. That's typically what I tell women. I love you just as much as you love me. And the sad part about that, if she gets like a face scrunch, that lets you know that bitch don't love you.
Fuck about you.
If she get like a screw face or one of those faces like, what do you mean? She starts saying, what do you mean? Bitch, projection. You don't love me. Fuck off. Bye. Here goes your parting gift. Samsonite luggage comes out. Legit, like you literally got to treat women like that, because you can't believe, or you can't really play into what they got to say. You got to make them think about the shit that you just asked you. Because if they don't have to think about it, they don't have to take responsibility for it. The minute they have to think about it, now they got to take responsibility for that shit. And that's typically how that shit works. Make that bitch take responsibility. So if she asks you, how much do you love me? Respond to her, as much as you love me. I love you as much as you love me. Then if she get a weird ass face, or she get a smush face, or that screw face looking shit, like what you mean? Like if you ask you any type of question or get attitude with you, that lets you know that bitch don't love you. Facts.
Yeah,
that's the real cool knowledge that every man needs to learn, young and old. If she asks you, how much do you love me? Tell her, respond with, I love you as much as you love me. If she get a weird ass face and start acting stupid, that bitch don't love you. It's time for that bitch to go.
Yep. Time to go. It's time to go.
Yeah, literally. It's time to go. Because that's exactly how I treat women. I treat women.
She's like, I don't trust you unless I know you love me more than I love you. It's like, that's a fit, or that is like a boardwalk and park place with hotels all over it.
I'm looking like this. If she says some shit like that, I automatically know that bitch don't love me. Bye, bitch. Bye, bitch. That's not what I'm telling her. Bye, bitch. Bye, nigga. Bye.
No, for sure.
Yeah, like, no, gotta go. She got to go. She got to go.
You got to go.
Yeah, she got to go. Ain't no ifs, ands, buts about that. She got to go.
Oh.
Just trying to pull technology on my
speaking of she got to go, I got to go.
Yeah, you do.
I'm going in an hour later than I thought, so
we're all
good. No, hour later, not late. Just I got today and tomorrow mixed up. So I actually go in when I said
tomorrow instead of today. So
Oh, you're late?
everything's good. So you're late. No, I'm not late. No.
Wait a minute, you're late today?
No. I'm right on time.
Okay, I was about to say.
No, it's all good. But
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate everybody in the comment box. That was nice. You guys did a good job today. Good. Thanks everybody for participating. And
I'm serious.
what does he mean by Samsonite?
My Samsonite game is on point. My Samsonite game is on point when it comes to women. Bye, bitch. Here goes your parting gifts. Peace.
Oh yeah, luggage game. Toiletry bag.
I literally, that's probably like the only thing I'll ever invest in women. I'll buy them Samsonite luggage that got their name monikered on it, and the minute they fuck up, slide that bitch right out there to them. Go pieces. That way they know I'm dead serious about that shit because I gave them a whole entire luggage set to go. Here goes your party.
I would try to step in like. I would say there's really nothing wrong with buying a woman a purse as long as she keeps all of her things in it and takes it with her when she leaves. Like, you know, like I guess you could put it. I've never done that in particular, but
I'm not wearing her damn purse. Shit, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
I'll get a free purse and give it to you. I ain't buying you no fucking purse.
There you go. Yeah, no, I mean, it would have to be a discount. It would have to be heavily discounted.
But I'm not buying you no shit. I'm not buying shit.
five finger discount.
No, it's not that though. It's like usually if you go to certain stores, if you buy a certain amount of stuff for yourself, you get something for free from the store. So if I go to a clothing store and they have nice handbags and I'm there for myself and I can get something for free, I'll get that for free. Bitch, you get that for free shit.
Using your reward points.
Using
reward points.
Like you're having some type of sale, or if you buy X amount of clothes at this one clothing store, you can get an accessory for free. So I'll pick her up a purse. And it's free. What you want me to say? I ain't spending shit. But for me.
But yeah, I mean, okay. So, but then bottom line is like, if you're gonna be giving headspace to people, you might as well be charging them rent, and you shouldn't even be paying money into having somebody move in or having somebody just because you think that you're investing in that person. Because what value do they have if they want to live in your head and not in the world, not in reality? Mm-hmm. It makes no sense to me, and it shouldn't make sense to anybody who wants to live free in this life. And that's basically just what I got to say on it. I know I speak a lot about it, and some people don't really speak about it. They just live it. But everybody got to do it their own way.
Facts, because quiet as it's kept, the Cartel Princess actually has Samsonite luggage in my closet. Legit, like she got Samsonite luggage in my closet. So
that's actually true. There's really no reason to do that because they if they wanted it, they can buy it. If you want something for her, you gotta think
woman and can handle it herself. They can get it herself.
Yeah, you can't. You don't need to be a handle for that.
Yeah, well, we can do it ourselves, but we would like a guy to do it for us. Okay, bitch, that sounds like you're being lazy. That sounds like you're being a lazy bitch to me. That's typically what I tell women when I say that shit. Or my favorite one was
if you're buying her a purse.
I wasn't even dating. There's one chick I wasn't even dating. This is how you know.
That's what I think as a guy. It's like, what are you expecting when you buy her that purse? Like, what are you expecting her to do?
Yeah, like what are you expecting? To get sex? Okay, yeah. You don't pay too much money for sex then.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, you don't pay way too much money for sex if you buy her that purse. She ain't worth that purse. Let's just put it that way. And that's technically how I feel about women. If I look at it like this, you gave it up for free. So either
you gave it up for like $1 or $5. That's like they're literally a $2. You're dressed and you act like a $2 hoe.
Because a good example was a woman that I met, and we weren't even fucking dating. This bitch asked me right off the bat, "So how fast do you spoil your women?" Bye, bitch. Got her from the table and walked away. Like I was at my own table, minding my business at the coffee shop, drinking tea. This heifer walks over to me because I have like this expensive laptop. And I had like this cell phone that has like the it gets, you know how they always have the car edition ones, like the Porsche or the McLaren edition. I had one of those phones, and I'm sitting around minding my business. This black bitch walks over to me and goes, "So how fast do you spoil your girls when you meet them?"
Bye.
Bye, bitch. I packed it.
Yeah.
I literally closed my laptop while I was in the middle of doing something. I put it in my bag without even putting it in the actual protective cover. I got up and I picked my phone up and I just walked away and left my tea on the table. So if you make me leave my tea, you done fucked up. That's how bad you fucked up, because I don't leave my tea anywhere. So if I leave my tea, bitch, you fucked up.
Oh man.
Like if you make me leave my tea on the table some damn where, I'm going to be pissed, and I'm pissed at you, and you done fucked up as a human being.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people tell me that I'm a really expensive date before.
That's sad when a chick tell you you're an expensive date. Obviously, she paying for your ass if you're an expensive date.
Exactly. Wait, who's paying for who? Who's paying for who? It's like who's.
I'll tell you in a heartbeat. I'm not expensive. I got standards. I'm gonna need those standards to be met.
You're not cheap. You're not cheap. I'm like, why would I be cheap?
Yeah, no, I drink Johnny Walker Blue, bitch. I'm not cheap at all. Nigga got standards. It's like legit. Like
there's a difference between being cheap and having standards. I would say there's a difference between being cheap and having some standards. Like I'm not going to be.
In my whole lifetime, I've only had 3 women actually buy me my drink. Only 3 women. And the sad part about that is, I have this thing. If a woman is paying for me, we fucking. We fucking. That's legit how I feel about it. If a woman is paying for my bill or paying for me, period, we fucking. If she ain't paying for me and I'm paying for myself, we not fucking. That's typically how you know when I'm actually in a relationship with somebody. If a woman's paying for me, I'm finna bend her over the car or over the counter or somewhere down the line some damn where. It's like,
Spotify. But yeah, okay, yeah, but I really gotta get going. So
all right.
Yeah, you guys I'll do my outro. This is Baron Yam. Sounds like a Starbucks encounter. Yeah. Sounds like but yeah, if you're gonna like, okay, so how should I end this? Yeah, okay, yeah. Basically, don't take women's nagging as a reason to shut off your brain. I think always keep your mind sharp at all times, 100% of the time. Whatever you got to do that, do that. Because you being happy and you being aware of your surroundings is the best possible situation you could ask for yourself. No reason to put yourself at a detriment, just for somebody else's benefit. If that's what you think that society like values and stuff, just fuck all that. Fuck the world. Do what you need to do to maintain your happiness at the end of the day. And whatever dreams you commit to, do it, complete it before you start investing in somebody else. You don't even know why they're there. This has been Baron Yam. You guys have a good night or day ahead of you, and be blessed, be well, stay positive, and have a good one. I'm out. I'm going to work. I'm out.
All right. This is Tico Trend, aka Internal Sadist. Basically what Yam said on his outro, on top of that is you just gotta pay attention to your surroundings, no matter what. You can't always live in ignorant bliss. And if a woman's asking you questions, she's basically trying to gather information from you. You never be willing to divulge information to a woman for no fucking reason whatsoever. Like I said, if it ain't your favorite color, your age, your favorite number, your favorite food, then fuck that bitch. Don't answer no questions. And if she asks you questions like, how much do you love me? Tell that bitch, I love you as much as you love me. Or if she asks you any other stupid question like that, basically tell her you're only doing it as much as she does it. And if she gives you a weird ass face or hits you or say something weird to you, she don't love you. It's time for that bitch to go. Get your Samsonite game on point. Samsonite game. That's gonna be a new hashtag now. Tico Trend, Samsonite game. And the sad part about that, at the end of the day, just pay attention to what's going on. If she asks you some stupid shit like, what are we? Or what are we doing? Ask her, I don't know, I'm lost. Tell her, I don't know, I'm lost. You tell me what we're doing, and we can figure it out from there. Let her actually tell you what's going on. That way she can have some investment in that shit. Because if she don't tell you what's going on, that means you invested in that shit, and she can always come back and say to you, well, you chose me, I didn't choose you. Because some bitches will say some stupid shit like that. So never answer that question first. Make her answer that question first. Other than that, y'all be blessed. Take care of yourselves. Treat yourselves like milk. Do not spoil yourselves. Stay MGTOW. Stay red pill. Stay SYSBM. Be blessed. And sometimes take them black pills when you need to. Be blessed. Have a good night or morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. See ya. Bye, niggas. Bye.